All right, hello and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Blades in the Dark tonight, continuing our run as the Gutter Witches, which are our vice dealing hawkers, who have a wee bit of heat on them. I'll tell you, I don't know whether or not we're like accruing heat fast. It feels like we're accruing heat pretty fast. So I already got a one wanted level. I feel like guaranteed we're gonna have a second wanted level after tonight because you're just like 3 ticks away from filling up that heat level. We've got two of the crew, both Sethla and Uma, are like super high on stress. So I think basically Long and I are gonna be just doing a little solo play, him and I, 1-on-1. And that's how it's going to be for most of the night. But we're tackling our third score. We've done 2 before. We've done 2 downtimes. We've got some clocks running. We've got some long-term projects going. So let's dive in. Before we dive in, let me drop a couple plugs because other things we do. This is our channel. We play games. We tend to stream here on Fridays, Saturdays, and Mondays. Fridays, we've been doing Delta Green for the Impossible Landscapes campaign. And we just had a very dramatic episode last night. So you can check that out. Today, on Saturdays, we're doing Blades in the Dark. And on Mondays, we alternate between Ultraviolet Grasslands, which will be this coming Monday, the 11th of October. And we also do Alien on the opposite Monday. So we switch back and forth. And the other things, like I'll let Melissa plug the other thing, but I got one other game I run, which is now on Thursdays. I've run Garbly games, where we're doing Delta Green as well over there. Different scenario, very different than Impossible Landscapes. They spoiler alert, they murdered a dude, like just straight up murdered a dude.
Innocent.
It was awesome. So and I know I don't advocate murder or anything like that, but I'm just saying the process by which it came to pass was pretty awesome. So it was fun to watch.
Yeah. And then getting out of that situation.
Yeah. So let's go ahead, introduce characters, what's going on, all that kind of stuff. So Ashley, how's Sethla doing?
Not great at all. I'm 2 stress away from traumaing out, and that's after spending extra coin last session.
And that's at the start of the score.
I know.
It's not good.
I rolled really terribly to get my stress down, and that's where we're at. But Sethla, she's Akros. She was previously a Leviathan hunter. She's our whisperer. She's a weird lady. She goes to like old-timey raves. It's her jam. And yeah, I got us in trouble opening a ghost store. I feel like just in general, all I've done is gotten us in trouble. Sorry in advance.
But we have a crossover because it's the ghost door in Blades that opens things in.
No!
Don't spoil stuff. What's wrong with you? Whoa. People aren't caught up on Delta Green and watching Blades in the Dark and places like you can't be spoiling stuff. You can't be spoiling stuff. You can't be specific about that kind of thing.
Though I did do a last episode, like a Thunderdome kind of fight with people, trying to befriend Anya, and I think I'm 1 wedge away from being friends with her.
I think so. I think that's right. It's on a different tab.
This is how we measure friendship.
Right. Yeah,
Melissa, I'm 4 wedges away from getting your love back.
I envisioned a giant bouncy house and the 2 of you just bouncing around.
That's exactly what I was imagining. It was like one of the,
that's what it was.
Like, you know, that Lake Pleasant, like inflatable obstacle course. I was thinking that, but just like a Thunderdome. Yeah,
it works for me. And it was on a spark ground, so Thunderdome makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And you know what else makes perfect sense? This Long Lee guy. Look at that transition. That was good. Long, how's Oliver doing?
Oh, he's doing pretty decent. Last encounter, I ran into his rival Brill, got stabbed in the back in the operation.
Yeah.
And now he's all patched up with some butcher's twine. Found a little makeshift surgeon.
Yeah, you guys.
I forgot about that.
You guys met. Was her name? Galena Knightley, I think her name was. She was the butcher physiker who works over at the Silver Stag Casino. Patched both you and Uma up, and you got your Your back wounds, you only got level 1 harm I'm looking at, but then you also got this trauma, man. What's going on with this trauma?
Got a new trauma, so my stress filled out. Got that 1 tick on the tracker, and I got paranoid now. Mm-hmm. So I am less trusting of others.
And that's another way of getting XP, right? If you kind of like are affected by or kind of play towards that trauma you have, you can get an extra XP. Hey, Kat, how's it going, man? So think about that as we go forward. You're also the only one who's got a fresh bar of stress, just like a fresh, clean, looks beautiful, and you're probably gonna need it because I think you're gonna be pushing yourself a lot. Or I feel like we're gonna get tons and tons of devil's bargains tonight, and I'm just gonna like rake in all the bargains tonight. That's what it is. I'm gonna be like online sports betting in America right now. That's all it is.
No, I'm so sick of those commercials.
I know, it's pretty terrible. Okay, and then finally we got Uma.
Yes, I am Uma Dunville. I had cleared like half of my stress, and then I had to spend some stress for our in-between stuff last time. So yeah, I'm feeling kind of stressed. Our new physiker-ish person went all misery on my ankles, so like it's better, but it's a level 1 harm at this point, but that was a little bit scary.
You can tell I know a lot about medicine when I have a woman sledgehammer your ankle to put it back into place. That's
gotta put the bones where they belong somehow.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get started. So we got the gutter witches. You guys are all hawkers. You're vice dealers. You've been working you've been kind of targeting Silk Shore for your primary business, but you have your actual lair is somewhere in Night Market in like kind of the sewers beneath a shop. And you have you've kind of been taken under the wings sort of the Unseen, a more powerful vice dealing organization within Duskfall, and they've kind of taken you under their wing, but they're using you specifically at times to like kind of pinpoint and target some of their opposition, including a larger group known as the Hive, these busy bees who are kind of proper merchants, who try to pretend like they don't do anything, seedy or underworld or mess around with ghosts and things like that. And so the Unseen and the Hive kind of have this butting heads, and they're fighting over some of the larger or the bigger underworld trade going on. And you all have a very small slice of that trade. And you've been working with the Unseen, and you've been kind of paying towards them, and they've been giving you information from time to time. And recently, I think it was Sethla who was given an invitation by a carriage driver who'd let you know that you had a meeting back at the High Horn, which is the name of a kind of a speakeasy hookah bar in Fogcrest over in Silk Shore, where you got to meet with a person. We're just going to call him the Wicker Man for now, because he's hidden behind a wicker window and you never get to see him. And he informed you that, before you were even aware of it, that your standard shipment of contraband, which probably includes your kind of maybe weekly or bi-weekly quantity of your dream powder, your Black Lotus, and all the other various things that you probably sell, has been seized. But it hasn't been seized by the Bluecoats. Bluecoats being kind of like the cops of the town. Instead, it's been seized by a noble who they had the name of. The name was Drazen Riverford. And you had a couple different hooks that you guys were thrown, but you settled on this one. You settled that you wanted to get your stuff back. And you were specifically told that Drazen Riverford kind of stole your stuff, has it, and you also know exactly where he lives and likely where he's keeping it, which is at their estate or their grounds in Brightstone, one of the richer neighborhoods in the district. I will draw your attention really quickly to... So Brightstone, again, when we think of the different places you guys have been operating, most of them, you don't have particularly high security. You either have high criminal influence or high occult influence, sometimes both. If you're looking at Brightstone, Brightstone has like a ton of wealth, and Brightstone has a ton of security and safety. And this is where you guys, with no stress left, have decided for your score. This is great. I love it. This is fantastic. So yeah, you were basically told Drazen Riverford, the family, for some reason, don't know why, your Wicker Man contact mentioned how there might be a connection to the hive, but not sure. And then they said, kind of do with it as you wish. Like, do with the your goods as you will. Like, you can take them and just sell them to your own purposes. You could use them to kind of expose this merchant for the hypocrite that he is, if you want, whatever it might be. But that's the details you have. You know exactly where his home is. You know exactly where he lives. You know it's in Brightstone. You know that's a part of the city that's going to be swarming with blue coats here and there. So let's dive in, shall we? You ready to go? So let's get back. So planning and engagement. So what we need to figure out is exactly how you're going to target this guy and get your stuff back.
Clearly assault. Clearly that's
so yeah, you can do assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, and transport. Those are the options you have. 6 options. What are y'all feeling?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Lon,
And don't
what
forget
are
there's
you
gather
feeling?
information. So if you wanted to try to gather information, you can. You can do some gather information rolls if there's other questions that you want asked. But what are we thinking just in terms of the general plan to target a noble in the Brightstone district?
leaning deception or stealth if we're kind of narrowing it down.
Okay.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, I kept looking at deception.
Okay. Don't forget that you're going to also need the point of attack. So you're going to know the method of deception. And then if you went deception, if you went stealth, you need the point of infiltration. So one of those two. Unless there was a different idea you had.
So remind me, we're after something he has, or
He stole
he's taking our supply, right?
He's taken your standard supply, and so you're going to
Mhm.
basically have a drought for the next couple of weeks until your next supply comes in. So you guys are going to get a pretty bad hit. And so you all decided that you wanted to
Oh,
get it back.
pain.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. It's all that matters is we're telling a cool story.
We are.
Yep.
So sometimes he participates in game
hawking, over
Hawking,
in
okay.
Silkshore. Yeah.
I
So
have no idea what I wrote there.
it's like falconry and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh,
So don't forget, you could do gathering. You can do some gathering information if there's particular things that you want to try to. If like there's questions you have, you can ask that now. You can kind of do some research, some recon on him or on the location, and that could give you an idea of what your detail could be for your engagement.
Okay. Can I get more information on where he lives?
Okay,
What
perfect.
the estate looks like?
mhm.
Yeah. So we'll say one afternoon, you head out to Brightstone. Do you go by yourself, or does anybody go with Cobb?
Over wants to?
Sure. Okay.
Okay, you could say no. I just wanted to make sure. So, Cobb, you and Uma are over in Brightstone. You're doing some recon. You know that specifically, like the information you were given is that he lives on Penderin Avenue, which is in the Hallowed Hill neighborhood of Brightstone. If you look at the map on Foundry, you can see a little red dot all the way over in the Brightstone district to the north, and you can see that's about where he's at.
We can't see the
Just
map.
what's that?
I don't
We
think-
only have playmat access.
Right, let's activate that.
There we go.
So you can see that the house itself, the estate itself, is on a canal, and you see it's on Penderin Avenue, which is right next to a bridge which goes over a canal. The canal being, I believe it's the Rosewater is the name of the canal. And you can see that there is a 2-story house with a fairly enormous peak, like a big gable peak. And you also see that there is a second, on the estate, there is a second building that looks like some kind of workshop or something like that, or garage or something like that. And you can see the entire estate is surrounded by some kind of like metal gate. But if you want to roll survey here, you can possibly get some more information, Oliver. Hey, Arbelin, how's it going?
All right.
So yeah, go ahead and roll your survey as risky standards. Fine.
Got a 1 failure.
A
Can I also
failure.
roll?
Sure, that's fine. I'll take it. Okay. So while the two of you are here, maybe you're kind of on top of a bridge. That bridge that goes over the Rosewater, kind of peaking. Maybe you're leaning over the side, and maybe Uma, you're walking down Penderin Avenue, just pretending to be a pedestrian, whereas Cobb, you're like looking out over the canal a bit and kind of peeking off to your right to see what looks like the estate itself, the estate grounds. Cobb, you are suddenly greeted by looks like 2 blue coats. They're like, okay, I know loitering here, you fucking twat, you. Get out of here. This ain't your neighborhood. And they're just kind of looking you up and down, kind of roughing you up a little bit. And one of them kind of leans in really, really, really close on you and says, what do you got planned around here? Looking for some... What are you trying to do? These are good people in this neighborhood. I got my eye on you. I've got your face just in the memory of my brain. And if I see you around here again, I'm not going to take you into the fucking precinct. I'm going to throw you right down in the water. You got that?
Won't
So-
see me again.
Yeah, you're done right, I will. Now get out of here. And they just kind of kick you in the butt as they shove you off the bridge. Okay. Uma, however, you're kind of passing by and you're doing just sort of a fly, like a little walk by. You notice a few things. You notice that there appear to be 2 entrances into the estate. One of them seems to be from the Penderin Ave itself, and you can see that there's kind of this sort of carriage round area where you pass through the gates, and then you kind of looks like people are kind of getting dropped off, and then they wheel the carriage itself off because the front of the estate itself has a 3rd building that was kind of hidden behind some bushes and trees and things like that, and some shrubberies and what. And you can see that there's like a little carriage house as well. You also notice that down by the canal there seems to be a private dock that extends out into the water, and it looks like sometimes, as you guys are watching, looks like some gondolas come up every now and then. People get out, stuff's going on. You see more than, this particular day, you see what looks like several couples in sort of strange robes get off the gondola, and they're slowly walk up the dock steps onto the estate grounds, and they proceed into the main house. And the last thing I'll give you is that there's a variety of these like tall, almost like lamp posts scattered about the grounds itself. And so you can see there's almost like lampposts on the estate itself. But a main gate on the road, there's another gate by the water. There seems to be a carriage house for where they store carriages and things. And you saw that there were people showing up in strange robes.
Jeff, as sort of like an additional gather information, if it's possible, I want to check like today's paper, because if these are like rich people, then sometimes rich people like to announce when they're having like events.
Okay. This doesn't require a roll. You just peek at the newspaper. There is no such engagement announced at the home of the Riverfords.
Okay. Just checking.
Sethla, do you have anything you want to try to do for this? This is gather information. You can say no. It's totally fine. Don't overthink it. Remember that planning of the heist happens during the heist. This is just if there's other information that you wanted to grab, now's the time.
Well, because you had mentioned that like no newspaper has printed an unkind word about them, but I'm wondering if maybe somebody had written something, like a journalist has done some sort of information and it's just like been cast aside. So maybe troll around like a newspaper office or something, ask some questions, see if there's anybody who's willing to tell me anything.
What skill would you want to do for that?
I feel like that's like consort, but maybe. Well, I don't want to draw too much attention to myself and like command it.
Consort probably works. You're trying to be
Yeah.
friendly.
It's up to you. Like you can do. There's no reason you can't do command if you want. Just it's what you want to do.
I'll be a little mean about it. I'll command it.
Okay. All right. So I'll say that this is gonna have standard effect. If it's, I mean, if you're standard risky's fine. Risky standard's fine. You're just kind of being a jackass around
I'm just being really.
some of the newspaper.
Think like Karen. You know, I'm just being a real bitch about it.
No
Yeah.
one wants to be that. Go ahead.
I know, but that's what's happening.
And if you wanted to take like a devil's bargain or something like that, I mean, the devil's bargain's pretty clear. What it would be. Eventually, word gets around, whether it's during the score or after the score, somehow that there was a woman that was asking questions. So like it seems clear that like your visit here will not go unnoticed. Like it'll be recorded. So that's something to think about.
Okay.
So if you wanted an extra die, that would be the devil's bargain.
I only have one in command. Yeah, I'll take it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to put a clock on that then.
Okay. I have so many clocks on me.
Right.
That's cool. I love clocks. Clocks are great.
Okay, I'm not looking.
Oh.
Oh shit! I got a failure.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This could have been our expose of a lifetime.
So all right, just writing down my clock. All right, so complication obviously seems to be that the ink rakes that you have now started shouting out aren't too appreciative of the threatening of some crazy Karen woman. And as you come in and start throwing your weight around, so to speak, someone quite literally throws your weight around and right out the door.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say you're gonna take let's say take like, I don't know, I almost want to fill up your stress bar here, give you a trauma, and then you basically, and like before the score happens, so that you can actually stay in the score, since we're just starting. You want to do that?
Oh, I would have pushed myself if that would have been enough. Okay. Yeah, we'll do that.
I'm just trying to figure out a way to be nice about it. So yeah, we'll say you're thrown out, and like you're thrown out onto the street in public view. People start kind of like, who the fuck do you think you are, you silly little freaking idiot? We don't take any kind of people like you coming in telling us how to do our jobs, suggesting we aren't on the up and up. Freedom of the press, what's wrong with you? Look at this pathetic woman. And everyone's kind of coming by and kind of like spitting at you, throwing things at you. And it's kind of this very embarrassing situation. And so, yeah, go ahead, and I'm going to say, because the score hasn't technically started yet, you haven't done the engagement roll, you take your trauma, and we'll trauma you out now. So you take your trauma, and then you'll still get to pick up and play, at least in the score.
Yay.
All right.
What's your trauma?
Unfortunately.
I'm unstable now.
All right. So if there's any more gather information rolls that you want to do, now's the time to do it. Otherwise, we're hitting to the engagement roll now. You've seen the grounds. You know that there's sort of 2 gates inside. You know that there's like strange folks in robes that are going there. You know that for some reason the newspapers don't seem to write anything bad about the guy. You know that there's a couple different buildings on the estate, and you know that there are lamp posts in the middle of the estate. What's going to be the type of plan? Assault, deception, stealth, occult, social, or transport? I think you had narrowed it down to deception and stealth. But you're welcome to do whatever you want.
Make it another stealth mission.
Stealth, okay. He said it with great
Confidence.
certainty and confidence, so we're going stealth. And so I want to know the point of infiltration.
I like going through. I'm thinking the gondolas on the dock,
Yeah, the dock.
like acquiring like the weird garb.
We're dressing up again.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be a
So-
flashback later.
Okay. So you want to try to. So you want to go through. So the point of infiltration is like you want to go
The
in
dock.
through the gondola, the dock
Mhm.
itself. Okay. All right. Let's get the end. Let's do that roll then. So you get 1 die for sheer luck. Okay. And then you get +1 die for each major advantage. And so let's think of what these potential major advantages could be. Is this operation particularly bold or daring? Yep. So you'll
Yep.
get a +1 for that. Overly complex or contingent on many factors? No, you're good. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability of the target or hit them where they're weakest? You guys are going to get a +1 for that. Let's see. Can any of your friends or contacts provide aid or insight for this operation?
I don't think mine counts.
Do you have any like tailors or something like that in your contacts, your official contacts? Tailors or costume makers or I don't know.
I mean, I have my vice dealer. I don't know if she, like, as a chef, might do some.
Cepha's a raver, don't they get all prettied up in costume?
I mean, I think that's a more of a removal of clothes than adding more on. But maybe like Roland, he's not my friend or contact, he's just my vice dealer.
Vice dealer? Okay. All
Catering.
right. So
That's the word I was trying to think of. Maybe Chef Rizal has done some catering for them.
I just have
I will give you. Yeah. We'll
professor.
take it. We'll take it. We'll take that. We'll take it. I'm gonna give you every opportunity with this one. Are there any other elements that you want to consider? Okay, so there's one other thing we do have to consider, and is that you're doing this in Brightstone, and so Brightstone, most engagement rolls suffer -1 due to heavy blue coat patrols. So I'm gonna take off one of those, but it's still gonna leave you with 3d6.
Okay.
So go ahead and
Long.
roll 3d6.
Me? Okay.
Yeah. All right. A 5, mixed results. You're in a risky position when the action starts. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, action now begins. You all arrive exactly as you plan on a gondolier. You've spoken with your contact, Uma, your vice dealer. What was her name again? The one
Chef
that,
Rizal.
yeah, the pudding maker. About whether she's done any kind of any kind of catering. And while she says specifically no, she hasn't, but she does inform you that there apparently he's a significant that the Riverfords are very interested in kind of a variety of wines. So maybe she puts you in contact with a someone in the city who might be able to, and like, but you owe her a significant favor at this point because like so you show up maybe with a very beautiful bottle of wine. The other question I have for you, by the way, is loadouts. Make sure you pick your loadouts. Are you going normal? Are you going light? Or are you going heavy? And remember, if you go normal, you do kind of look like you're on a job. If you're going a heavy, it's like you're holy shit. And if you're going light, it's a little bit harder to tell. So light, normal, heavy. You don't have to pick you don't have to pick your actual inventory. All right, so we got light.
Yeah, light.
Okay. Oliver. Light, heavy, or normal?
Where's
For
the
your
difference
loadout.
again? Of how much?
That's how much you can carry, basically.
How much
But
more
it's
can I
also
carry
so
between
like
normal and light?
so it should be on your sheet, but like the main difference is like normal will let you carry more, but it's also a little bit more obvious that you have some equipment on you that might, like, under careful like observation, might be like, why are you carrying that here? Why do you have that kind of bulge like underneath your shirt, like where like do you have a knife there or a gun there, something like that. So you can switch between on the loadout page, there's like a drop down menu. You can go light, normal, heavy, and so whenever you add an item, it'll kind of take it up. And there's only so much that you can carry. I don't remember the exact numbers off the top of my head though.
Okay. I'll stick to light then. Hope they don't
Alright.
need too much.
Light
All
is 1 to 3 load, I think.
So, you get a ride on a gondola. You get somebody to, much like a cab driver, you drop a couple coins, and you approach the Riverford estate. You get off the docks, and as you walk up the docks to like where the sort of the wooden planks eventually lead to steps, which lead up above the retaining wall of the canal onto the estate proper, and that's where the gates actually are. You can see that a guard is there. That's just kind of moving past and standing. You can see there's a large bell, and you probably were casing a little bit prior to your arrival, and you did probably within the last 20 minutes see another group of people in similar attire to yourselves with these fairly colorful, almost shimmering robes, and you probably have enough connections around Silkshore to be able to help you with this. But as you're stopped before you go up, and the guard says, "What name should I say is on the list? And do you have all of the accoutrements for this evening as required by the master of the house?"
Yes, this is the Burnside's family, and of course we do.
"You're with the Burnsides?" Very good, sir." He kind of peers at you a little bit. "Burnsides. And can you please produce... you kind of look around. "I do not see your masks, sir."
As a loadout, can I have a mask?
So you can, you just don't necessarily know what masks. So here's a good idea for a flashback, I would say.
Yep.
If somebody wants to take an opportunity, here's a flashback for a step. So looking around like you didn't see this when you were coming up before, Uma. You only had a partial success. You didn't have a full success. So all you saw was the clothing. You missed the fact that they were wearing some kind of mask. So yeah, now would be probably a good time to tap into like a flashback of some kind.
Yeah, I'll start off
Totally
with a
ripping us off
flashback.
from that. Okay. So
Mask. Oh.
what's the flashback? So how would you have acquired the information in the past about this?
Now I'm wondering if the last party we were at had any like mask in that.
Oh, you mean back at the carnival?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to see if there was any kind of evidence of people wearing masks there, and if there was like specifically the Burnside family. Oh, okay. Because you did mention you were the Burnside. Yeah. Okay. I still think this is gonna. I'll say this is probably a 1 stress, and I'll say that you noticed that there were a couple different masks that you saw there. A lot of the workers so take 1 stress for this. But a lot of the workers at the back at the carnival were wearing like these kind of Venetian, kind of plain white masks that sort of almost like Phantom of the Opera type masks. But many of the attendees were wearing animalistic masks. Okay, so they look like a specific kind of animal. And while Uma and you were looking around, and based upon the information that you gathered from the unseen, you know that this guy likes hawks, falcons, birds.
All right.
And so maybe as you were collecting your silk robes and such, you're also able to have some sort of hawks and stuff. So yeah, you produce your mask. Oh, very good, sir. Very good. But he's still kind of peering at you. I still want you to roll. I think you still need to roll a check here to get through, because you mentioned that you're a member of the Burnside family, and he's like, "First name." I'm kind of looking. Don't recognize you and your compatriots here. So why don't you go ahead and roll something here, whatever you want.
I'll do. Let's see. Just a sway, right? Make them think.
Yeah, sway's totally fine. And I'll tell you that I think you are in, despite the fact that you're in risky position, I think that this actually has the potential to have great effect because you have the mask, you have the clothing, like this is. So I'm gonna say it's risky but with great effect.
Okay. Got partial success.
Okay. And don't forget, you can always ask for devil's bargain. You always push yourself. You can always ask somebody else to push. Okay. I try. I'm gonna try not to do that every single, like mention it every single time, but like remember that's always there. Okay. And so you mentioned it, probably a name of one of the Burnsides that are that maybe pop up in the news from time to time. You mentioned and you give names over for Uma and Sethla as well. You can see as like he mentioned, he's kind of nodding. He's nodding. Huh. I wasn't aware. I had so many cousins of that age. How very surprising. And so I think the complication here is that you just dropped a known name, and the potential for a Burnside member to actually show up at this party is decently high. And so I'm starting a clock now for Burnside, the actual Burnsides to arrive.
Nice.
Okay. But nonetheless, he turns around, he unhitches the gate. You can see as you're passing, the three of you are passing through the gate and onto the estates. You're underneath what looks like these giant posts, these gate posts, on top of which you can see like these iron hawks, like these black iron hawks that are just looking down, their talons big and large. And you are now onto the estate itself, and you are moving across with sort of like, gravelly road. You can see that there is occasional, what looks like almost like vegetation and sort of flowers and things that have been set up from time to time. And you can see that around the estate, as you climb up these steps, you can see that there is the main house straight ahead, this 2-story house with this really tall peaked gable, very like robust, like kind of attic top floor. You can see like off in the distance to your right, we'll say to the east, as you get on here, you can see that there's the carriage house, and then kind of off to the northwest, you can see nestled in a different direction, kind of into a corner of the estate itself. There's this other fairly large, but not remotely close to the size of the house itself, fairly large building unto its own right. But you can see there's others that are starting to arrive that are being dropped off by carriage. And so there's kind of people milling about and moving about. Where would you guys want to go here?
So is everyone moving towards sort of the main house, or is anyone like kind of walking around the grounds towards either of the other buildings?
Okay, you see people all over the grounds. Now, specifically the people who are wearing like the robe stuff that you're wearing, you can see that some of them are kind of loitering around the outside in small groups, almost like they're kind of having like conversation. All of them have on various animal masks. And you can see that there's also servants that are moving about holding like little platters that have these fluted glasses, these goblets, I should say, and that they're handing out little bits of food. And so you also see that there are people around that are clearly not in these uniforms, and you can tell they are most certainly hired muscle. They're guards, security of some kind, dressed much like the guy who just let you in. And they're a little all over. You can see there's people over by the workshop. You can see there's people like there's the guards over by the main house, guards by all of the gates, etc. That's what's obvious. If you wanted to kind of do if you want to do a survey, yeah, go for it.
Okay.
If you want to take a closer look at the grounds, now that you're on them, absolutely. Did you not want like?
Yeah,
don't forget you can get other dice. Like, don't just hit the thing. Go through like the extra dice. So ignore that for a second.
Okay.
Do you want someone to help you? Do you want to push yourself? Do you want a devil's bargain?
I don't want to push myself, but if anyone wants to help me.
I was going to say I could assist by like we go arm in arm strolling so it doesn't look as obvious.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That sounds perfectly fine. Pop a stress for yourself. And plus I didn't even set the difficulty or anything.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Easy. I know we want to go faster, but this is easy there, Romeo. Okay. I'm going to say risky standard. There's no reason this is anything other than that. So you've got 2 die right now. If you wanted to push yourself, you can take 2 more stress. If you wanted a devil's bargain, I'll say that the devil's bargain. Oh, what could we do here? I think the devil's bargain is just going to be, I'm going to tick the Burnside's arrive box one, is what I'll say. Because it's like taking you time, and you're taking time to survey, which means you're eating up time. So the Burnside's going to arrive. That will be the devil's bargain.
Okay.
You taking it?
No.
Okay, no. So you got 2 dice. Go ahead and
Yeah,
roll it.
I got 2.
Risky standard's fine. All right.
Partial success.
Okay. I'll give you a couple other bits of information that you notice. You notice that there are hawks that periodically come in and out of the attic. You also notice flying around the entire estate, there are, like, again, game hawks and things that have started to perch above those tall posts, those lamp posts that seem to be scattered about, that are shining down light on the estate, so it almost makes it look like it's daylight. You also notice that there's like one person who like opens the door to the workshop to go inside, and as they do, this strange kind of bluish light just ever so briefly flooded out into the area. But in the process of opening, like, they were going through this complex lock mechanism as well. So there's like this really complex lock there.
Like radiant light, maybe?
I don't understand. What do you mean radiant light?
Like the thing that rich people do. Like they have their own like radiant light source thing.
Okay. And then, I mean, that was more what the towers and stuff were. Okay. I think the complication, though, is that you're going to get caught leering a little too longly over at that workshop. And you're going to hear a voice come up behind you. Hello, ladies. Curious about the workshop, are you? And you turn around and you can see that there is this mask that's on their face, that's on this face of what looks like another woman. And her, like the mask, like the animalistic mask specifically, as best you can tell, it looks like some kind of wolf or like a fox, something like that. You can only see like her mouth as it moves, but you can't see any of the top parts of her face. But she's holding a goblet, and she's like kind of got her finger with this very colorful polish on the nails. As she's like kind of running it around the room, she like kind of dunks her finger into it. And she says to you specifically, hang on, let me look it up. I think I wrote this down. Another one of these parties. They get very tiring after a while. But as they say, hollow is the flesh. And you can see she just kind of takes the blood, or not the blood, the wine, and kind of like gets it right against her neck and just kind of like almost caresses it. And she's like looking at you as if she's expecting some kind of response from you.
So this is a great time for a flashback, Jeff.
Sure.
So I want to spend some time before this started studying just like the Riverford family and like maybe like their family mottos, stuff like that, to see if maybe there's like some common phrases and stuff, like, or like reach out to my etiquette classes I was taking.
Yes. Absolutely.
And
I like that.
I'm like gossiping with like my lady there who's training me, and seeing if maybe she goes to parties.
Okay. So
like field trip from your etiquette class, you like went to a fancy party.
Yeah, like what do you do at a soiree, whatever.
Soiree.
This is gonna require an action roll. I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Mostly because it's the idea of like like it's not so much the training for a specific party, like that's in itself easy enough to do, but you're looking for like a very highly specific kind of phrase that somebody might exchange. And I'm gonna say that, and I would put this so you can pick what your action might be.
To get this from my etiquette teacher.
Yeah, it's just like you're probably taking these etiquette classes with other members of high society, and so you're kind of in. So the potential is there that you might overhear something. So it's not necessarily going to be information you get directly from the etiquette teacher, but it's the process of taking these etiquette classes with other people who are hobnobbing with rich folk. So what action do you want to use? But I'm going to need an action on this one.
Study, just because like I'm just trying to soak up as much information as I can.
Okay. All right. This is going to be risky with limited effect.
Limited. Okay.
Because it's, again, very specific piece of information that might not be found there. So you could always remember trade position for effect. You could drop it. Yep. You could drop it down to desperate to move that up to standard.
Okay.
So you can always do that as well.
So I'm going to drop it to desperate to make it standard. I am going to take
your XP
stress to push myself to get at least one more die. So we're doing desperate, standard. That's just 2, and I'm by myself. Okay.
You can do it.
Good to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Success, I do it.
So the camera, like, we fade as you're like, hollow is the flesh. And we get like a little flashback of you in one of your etiquette classes. And it's not so much the class itself, but maybe it's some of the other people that are taking this class, maybe people who are servants for rich folk. And you overhear like conversations about sort of the strangeness of the people of Brightstone, or of the richer clientele, how they have very peculiar habits, peculiar beliefs. Some of them have strange parties, and like you hear a story about like some kind of strange like almost like a Bible study type of group, and like you heard the phrase, hollow is the flesh, empty is the vessel. And that phrase is sort of stuck in your head for some kind of peculiar. You don't know exactly the context of it, but you remember that phrase.
So Sethla, just flashback, but without too much awkward time passing between, Sethla will just reply, empty is the vessel, as she also like reaches and she grabs a goblet from like maybe like a servant walking by. And
okay. And she just, indeed it is. Shall we walk, ladies? And she'll kind of offer her arm to get like a 3-way link.
Okay, yeah, and like I'll loop her
and she'll turn and start leading all 3 of you back towards the main house and away from the workshop.
Okay.
Okay. So you moved and you're like kind of on these steps leading up to the main house. Cobb, you're still just moving about here and there. There's still some folks coming and going. What do you guys want to do?
So I'm definitely interested in the workshop now. But I don't know if Uma and I should be the ones to research that further at this time, because we've kind of got a little bit of active heat on us. So
at this point, I think I just want to mingle and, kind of pick up some hors d'oeuvres and just play it cool for, 10 minutes or so. Just see what kind of food is here. Just kind of walk around, see what kind of animals.
We do have an active clock, the burn science, that I am very worried about.
I mean, I don't think any of that requires an action roll if you're just kind of lingering around. But if there's something you're trying to be more proactive about, I think that's where we get into action rolls. But just kind of lingering, that's fine. Oliver, is there something that you would be doing at this point?
Yeah, after learning about this highly guarded place or spot locked up house, let's see if I can just get closer to it without being noticed.
Okay. The entire estate is lit up fairly bright with all these different lamp posts atop of which the hawks are kind of posting up. And you can see that there's very few approaches to the workshop that are not under light, and that there are guards at the front. So how do you want to approach here in a way? Yeah. So how do you want to do this?
Instead of going to there first, I want to look for, I guess, where the switches are. What is it? The break box? Some sort of generator, whatever's powering these lights. I kind of want to like produce a moment of darkness.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that sounds great. Okay, how do you want to do that? What do you want to roll?
Just wreck it, Ralph.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you have to find them first.
I
think.
First.
Yeah. Wreck it, Ralph.
Study or a survey?
Oh, survey. Is that
yeah, survey would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, risky standard at this point. You're on the grounds. You have your mask. You have your clothing. No one's immediately suspicious of you. However, there is risk to be poking around in the wrong portions of the estate. So there's definitely that risk there. The standard effect would be that you find what might be powering these lampposts. I could say the devil's bargain could be, again, I think it's going to tick the Burnside clock. Understand that the Burnside clock isn't like the end of the score. It just means the Burnsides arrived. That's all it means. So I think it's just going to be
myself, right?
Yeah, you can still two to push.
Yeah, I think I'll do that for now.
Okay. 2 to push. And I think that Sethla and Uma were busy. This is probably happening while they're busy with the other encounter they had.
The lady.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So go ahead and roll it.
Hey, success.
Oh,
got 6.
Okay.
Nice.
You find a small shed that's a little bit in the shadows. That's built kind of not directly near the workshop, but it's actually built what looks to be in some kind of like ornate setup of like bushes, of like flowery bushes, and you can see that as you approach the flowers, like the petals are like moving, like you can see them kind of like snapping out at like the movement as you pass by. And when they do, like the small little stems that come out of the blooms themselves kind of glow as you pass by it. But you find hidden in the shadows there is a shed, and you hear it more than you see it as you hear thum 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 thum. And you open up the door, and there you see a very complex generator. And you can see little bits of spark energy kind of flickering here and there. And you see all of these cables, these thick, heavy cables that seem to be going and running into it, but also running out and buried into the ground. Like someone dug up some channels and put these electrical cables that most likely, you kind of do the quick math, you count the cables versus how many posts, and like you're fairly confident this is what it is. But yeah, you do in fact locate it. No complication. Doesn't seem like anyone noticed you coming over here either.
Mr. Stealthy.
Now, over by the house, over by like the landing where the stairs are, and like think of like a kind of a wraparound porch where a lot of people are lingering. You see a couple come out, both wearing hawk masks, by the way. And so you step out, and you can see that they've got these hawk masks on, and they're wearing slightly different outfits than you. Like everyone's kind of got this same, what looks kind of like a reddish, anywhere between like a heavy like dark pink and like a deep red, but they are wearing more like a purplish violet color that has these red trim when they step out. And you can tell that one of them seems to be a man, one of them is a woman, and they're kind of holding their hands out in such a way that he's almost kind of got the woman's hand as he's helping her with like the step as they come out of what looks like a double door into the main house itself. And you hear his voice. I would like to thank you all for joining us this evening. Hollow is the flesh And you hear everybody, like, as a response, says, "Empties the vessel. We have our volunteers for the evening. They have been prepared in our usual manner. If you would all be so kind as to enter our home, you are welcome here." And the woman kind of reaches over and grabs a bell that's being held on a plate and just starts ding, 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 ding. And you can hear, and even you, Cobb, can hear the bell kind of ringing, and people start funneling into the house. What do Sethla and Uma do with this?
I'm still arm in arm with the other woman.
Yeah, I know. That's what I want to know.
So-
Do you go inside, or do you
Yeah.
do something else? Okay.
Yeah, I think we're gonna immediately go inside for right now.
All right.
And then
So you just
find
follow the
another-
crowd. So you look around, and there's probably another, counting your cells, there's probably about 20 people in total. As all of you funnel in, you follow the crowd. You kind of circle around what looks like this large room in the base of the house itself. It has kind of like a leveled or a tiered kind of living area. You can see that there's no furniture that seems to be around this kind of tiered area, and at the bottom of this little pit in the middle of the room, you can see that there are 3 individuals stripped naked, and they're just laying there on like this cold tile. You can see that they have like silks and things that are kind of covering them up here and there, but they're kind of writhing around. And as vice dealers, you would probably know that they are high right now, that they're experiencing some kind of stupor. They're on something, that they're seeing things, and they're kind of just writhing around in these in this motion. They're kind of talking to themselves, and everyone just begins to sort of funnel around this large square, and kind of takes up a position. And you see everyone does. Like, do you continue to just follow the crowd?
Uma wants to see if she can, if it's possible to just move away. So she wants to see
To unhook your arm? Yeah, you unhook your arm. Sure. That doesn't require a roll. You unhook your arm, no problem.
Yeah, and I just want to see if I can just sort of stay back as everyone else is sort of moving forward, just to kind of stay back a little bit.
Okay. Are you trying to be like stealthy about this so no one sees you, or are you trying to?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you're trying to just kind of slink off.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like an action roll, I think. Doing this without anyone paying attention to you.
Okay. Like
All right.
prowl, maybe?
Prowl sounds good to me. I'll say that the devil. I mean, if you want a devil's bargain here, I think definitely the clock ticking is the one I'm going to be going to a lot. The Burnside clock ticking. So I'm going to put one on that.
Uma will sort of, like, imagining we're each on either side of this woman. Uma will kind of lean back and try to make eye contact with Sethla and see if this can be.
Yeah. I don't know, but also I feel like Seth is kind of like curious about like what the fuck's happening here.
And because even, I'm not sure how much of this I can convey, but I'll just try to speak it out. Like, even if you were to like chat her up, that maybe it might be easier for me to like back away if you guys are like engaged in a conversation.
Oh, so you're asking for an assist?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. So you just kind of cover her. So maybe the woman who you have arms kind of turns as Uma, but then you kind of tug on the arm to engage her in conversation and distract her from like Uma slinking off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like it.
So I'll take the +1.
Okay, and you don't want that
assist.
extra clock tick. Now the clock could still tick, by the way, as complications and things like
Yeah,
that.
sure.
But
Yeah. I'll let you know, yeah. Oh no, I failed.
Okay, so you step away, and as you kind of try to slink back into a corner, you feel a hand on your shoulder, and you turn and you look, and it is the woman who rang the bell.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, now. Now is not the time to be finding the shadows, dear.
Okay. I was just looking for just some water. That's all. I was just.
You will have plenty to quench your thirst in a moment.
I
Positions now, please.
I could just use a little water. That's all.
Positions now! And at that point, as she raises her voice, everybody, with probably the exception of maybe even Seth, just like kind of in unison, all of these masked animalistic people just kind of turn and look over at you. And everyone is looking at you now. What do you do?
Go back. I'll go to the other side of Sethla.
Okay. All right. Setha, was there anything you wanted to do here, or are you just kind of waiting to see what this is all about?
Yeah, I'm waiting. She wants to know what is happening.
All right. Oliver, outside, you've got this machine in front of you. You hear this bell. You probably peek up and look around, and you can see everybody dressed like you is no longer outside, and they're all like disappeared from like in the waiting area around the outside. And the only people you see moving about now are those that look to be in mercenary gear or guard gear.
Nice. I want to look at this generator, this mechanism, and try to find the vulnerability to it. So either just turn it off.
Okay, cool. What skill you want to use for this?
Have a little finesse to manipulate it at all.
Okay. All right. I'll say finesse is going to be limited effect. And yeah, I would say limited risky. Limited just because it's you're not sure exactly what you're doing, and finesse is like the physical, like you're going to be good about moving things. You're just not sure if you're moving the right things, type of deal.
Tried to get out to you to help with the tinker. Sorry.
I can always switch it before I roll, or do I have to do it after?
What do you mean switch it?
Like if I wanted to try something else.
Yeah. Once as long as you haven't rolled yet, you can change your tactic. That's fine.
And I don't have many skills. I'll just stick with this actually.
Okay. Do you want a devil's bargain?
Yeah, I'll take one.
Yeah, I think the devil's bargain is gonna, in this case, just be additional heat because it's got the potential of damaging some serious spark equipment here, and that in itself could just kind of increase. It's not just breaking. It's not just like burglary. It's breaking and entering now. Now you're damaging shit. So I think this is gonna be +2 heat if you want a devil's bargain.
Oh god, heat. Okay, I'll do it. That's fine.
Okay. So yeah, go ahead and and don't forget, before you roll, you can always trade position for effect. So if you wanted to drop from risky down to desperate to kick the effect up to standard, you can do that as well. It's something to consider.
Limited originally, one of these. It's
limited effect, risky position. So you can trade your position, meaning you can move from risky down to desperate, which would give you an XP, but that would increase from limited to standard effect. Limited doesn't necessarily mean it's going to turn the lights off, because your intention here is to mess with it to turn the lights off. Limited could do something else. So it's up to you.
I want to make it a desperate.
Okay.
So get the standard.
So take your XP for that. Put it in that category, and then go ahead and roll.
Success.
Wow. All right, man. You're not entirely sure what you're doing. You've maybe looked over Uma's shoulder from time to time as she's messed with some tinctures and tonics and a couple of her weird, maybe some spark innovations and things like that. She's more of an alchemist, but she probably has a few little gadgets and gizmos around that you've messed with. And you don't know everything, but you couldn't make this machine. But you darn well can tell, like, when there's gears that are interconnecting and they need to interconnect. And so you're able to find something in your pockets or on the ground, a stone or something, and jam it in there to kind of throw some of the tracks off. And you hear as it grinds down, smoke begins to come, the spark stops happening. And then you hear, and as the lights outside, these large lampposts go out. Now there's still some ambient light here, as there's just like, because some of the guards have their own lanterns and things like that, and you have the light that's coming out of the windows of the home. But these huge lampposts, these floodlights that have been that almost making the entire estate look like it's under daylight, go out, and you hear the sounds of wings, like woof, woof, as the humming of the generator and the lights go off.
And I'm gonna quickly leave this and try and find that locked shed. Where else?
Okay, you're gonna try to move over to the workshop. Okay, we're gonna go back inside first. So inside, as Uma and Sethla get into their positions, they're in this square around this tiered living room. So you're at the main floor, and then there's like these recessed tiers, like an upside down pyramid, only like 3 levels. And you can see on what is purely like marble or stone or tile floor, there's no carpentry, whatever. You can see these 3 figures. They have no clothes on, but they have these like silk straps here and there that kind of intersperse between them, both men and women down here. And you suddenly start hearing like a thumping, thump, thump, thump. And you look around and you can see like every one of them is just like stomping their foot ever so slightly to like this rhythm. And as the 2 figures that that invited everyone into the home go and stand at like this center point of one on one side, you can see one of the servants is carrying a box of some kind, standing behind these 2. The woman begins to speak, and she's just like, "The heart beats, and through it, blood flows," and everyone just keeps. And then like the beat gets going faster and faster as adrenaline courses through the veins, and just the heartbeat keeps going. And then they step off to the side, and the servant steps forward, and you can see it's like almost like a wedge. And they start walking down the steps. The man starts going down as well. The woman follows. They get through this little system where they slide this wedge underneath the back of one of these kind of writhing, incredibly high individuals. And the woman just kind of like leans forward. She's just looking up, kind of just her eyes rolled back. Whatever she's on, it might be some of your stuff, might not, you don't know. And so as the woman speaks, the matriarch of the house who invited you here, you can see one of the servants kind of leans down, and they have like this little kind of what looks like a corkscrew crank, and just jams it right into the neck of this woman. They hook up this tube, and then they just start to drain this blood all over the place. And you hear the stomping continues to go. The man said something along the lines of, "We hollow out this believer, this true-born child who has given over her flesh. We are purify her indeed. She has taken upon herself the sins, the filth that courses through the veins of all of those in Duskfall. And now we take her blood so that we might clean it. And we will then take it within ourselves." And so all these other servants start showing up, and they have these trays filled with goblets and things. What are the 2 of you doing?
Stomping my foot along with the beat.
Do you want to be proactive and do anything at all, or do you want to do? You just want to sit and watch? Hey, Beowulf, how's it going? No worries. We're at a Eyes Wide Shut party where they're sacrificing people. It's good times. Good times.
Come back to me, Melissa. Uma, what are you doing?
I mean, I would just say, oh gosh, I don't want to just keep surveying, but I feel like that's what she would be doing, is just like looking for an exit, looking for.
Oh, the exits, you see exits. Like there's a door the way you came. There's doors. Like that's not something that takes action rolls. It's like seeing these things is super easy. If there's something more specific you're looking for, that's fine.
Sethla obviously attends a lot of parties, so she knows kind of, not necessarily, she's never been to one of these before,
You
but
have
like
not. Yeah, I don't think you would
there
have been to this one.
there reaches a point probably where it's gonna hit a fever pitch and like everything's gonna be a bit more frenzied, and she has an idea probably that would be an easier time to leave.
Okay.
But she's gonna be I guess like maybe her and Uma are like looking for who like the servants who might not exactly be participating with the wealthy in this part, like aside from the ones who are draining.
All of the servants are like just draped in black, like you can't see their clothes are black, they have a mask on that's black, it's almost like they're just blending into the shadows, and like you can't really see them too clearly unless you're focusing on. They carry things from time to time, but yeah, they're very easy, but there's quite a few of them. But yeah, I mean, you're inside the house, like it's any old house that you would imagine you would be, like Uma. There's places to go. You're in what looks like some kind of living room or some kind of entertainment room, but all the furniture has been removed. Windows, everything, staircase going up. You can see off in the distance. It's just a question of like, if you just want to just watch, we can just narrow it out. I just want to give you every opportunity to be proactive and do something if you want.
So you said that the woman that brought me back was the woman that invited everyone inside?
Yeah,
She
she
was the
brought
one
you
who rang
back
the
and kind
bell.
of she set you in place, and then she like wandered around and joined the patriarch, we'll say.
So can I try to do a finesse while she still was like physically moving me? Because
no, you can't do that anymore because that changes the fiction. Like you get like it's already happened that she's left you, and she's now because she gave the speech and all that kind of stuff. So it's not quite, you can't really change what's already kind of happened.
Okay. I'm trying to find someone that I might be able to...
Unless you were like picking a pocket or something like that, then we can say it's a
was...
flashback. Okay, we can say a flashback for that. A flashback to just like 5 minutes ago. Yeah, we can probably do that.
I was trying to pick her pocket while she was moving me.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Sure. So you're just trying to pick and like just find whatever you can find inside? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, possibly like a key or some other thing, but yeah.
All right, what action do you want to take here?
Finesse.
Okay, finesse. And this is going to require a roll. So sure. This isn't going to just be a free stress one. So it's going to require a roll. We're going to do an action roll for this. This
definitely willing to do desperate.
I was going to say that this is probably going to have, because you're just trying to find something of use inside, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, limited, and risky. So if you want to bump it down to desperate, you can.
Yep.
Okay. And then I think the devil's bargain. The devil's bargain is that somebody else is going to see you do this.
Okay.
Not necessarily her, and not necessarily, but somebody else. Somebody else in the party might see you.
Partial success.
And did you take the devil's bargain?
Yeah.
All right. So you reach in as she's kind of pulling you back, and you kind of slip your hand down to what looks like the pocket of the robe. You wrap your hands around whatever's down here, and you just pull it out. You're not even looking at what it is, and quickly slip it into your own pocket. You get back into the position with Sethla, and you look across the way on the other side of this square as the woman who you just picked her pocket from. There's what looks like a bear mask that's looking right at you, and it's a relatively plump woman that you can tell from the figure, but is looking right at you the whole time as this is happening. Okay. But if you get a moment, you look down and you see what looks like a very complex looking key. Like it's like almost like this. It's not just like a skeletal key, but you can see that there's these teeth coming out on like 4 different sides. So it's not just like teeth coming down the bottom, but teeth coming down the bottom, the sides, and the top of what looks like a very complex key of some kind.
Alrighty.
All right. And then you get back into position, and as the two of you are now watching this happen, that looks like they're filling up the goblets with the blood of this woman. And then you notice that there's these huge karass of like some kind of red, you imagine wine, and they start filling it up. They're doing like a mixer of blood and wine, and the servants get up and they're taking these trays and they start handing them out to everybody. Do both of you take them? Okay.
Yes.
All right, both take a goblet. Oliver, we're back outside with you now. So have you just when we last left off, you turned the lights off and you're trying to now get over to the workshop, correct?
Yeah, I'm trying to navigate over to the.
All right. How do you want to do this?
I want to avoid all the light spots that are still left on. Just keep through the shadows, try to get over there.
Okay. What action do you want to take?
A little prowling here.
All right. Do you want to do prowl? To me, I think you're actually. I mean, I think this is still a risky situation because there's people out here, but I wouldn't say it's so much as desperate because you got the lights off. So I'm just gonna say risky standard. Sounds to me.
And push myself with this as well.
Okay. The devil's bargain would be ticking the Burnside clock, which only has one slice in it, by the way.
Okay.
It's a 6 clock.
Yeah, I only have one die here, so.
Do you want to take that instead of pushing yourself with the stress? You can because it's one or the other. It's either the devil's bargain or you push yourself.
Let's take the bargain then. That sounds better.
Okay. Yeah, I mean I made it a 6 wedge clock. Oh, I'm sorry. There were 2 slices. This would make it halfway. You cool? All right. Yeah. My bad. All right. So it's half full. 3 more slices left.
Let's go 50-50.
All right, go for it, man.
All right, I feel.
I thought you got an extra die though.
I have no skill points in it.
Okay. All right. So, okay. As you slowly, carefully sneak, finding your way through the darkness, sneaking up to the workshop, not going directly to the front of the workshop because there's still a guard standing right there in front of the door, right? But you're trying to maybe you're sneaking around the flank. You hear woof, 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 and suddenly you feel talons ripping in to your shoulder, and you feel what looks like a beak kind of pecking away, and this loud caw sound of a bird that has wrapped itself onto your shoulder and is ripping away. Go ahead and take a level 1 harm.
Oh.
Yeah, this is just going to be lacerations for now. And there is and this means that not only are you taking that as your harm, but certainly the sound of this hawk going crazy is likely going to draw the attention. Back inside, however, both of you have goblets. Do you drink? You see everybody around, they have it, and there's like a toast that's happening right now where everyone looks to be drinking at the same time. Do you?
Yeah, because I recently became unstable. So I mean, I'm all in, Jeff.
Okay. I like it. Fair enough. Oh boy.
Uma's gonna do sort of we'll kind of cover the lips, but just barely sipping.
Okay. So you do a drink. Do you want? Okay. So when you look out and because you specifically said that, you watch as everyone around like literally takes it and they chug it, chug to the point where it starts to spill out their mouths to the side and kind of down the robe a bit, and like it gets very, very sloppy at that point, and you're trying to just like gently slip it. That sounds like an action roll to me. Like I feel like if you want to make it look like you drank but didn't really drink too much, it sounds like I think you're probably gonna have to do an action roll to justify it.
And I would say if everyone's drinking it messily, then I will try to like spill most of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just like close your lips and just
yeah, because if they're being messy with it, then it's gonna like it's just all gonna be
all right.
like,
So yeah,
boring.
it sounds like you're just trying. Yeah, okay. So whatever action you want to roll here for this performance is cool.
I think it's still finesse. I would say.
Okay.
Probably the best of everything.
Yeah, sounds fine.
That I've got. I've just got the one. Yeah, I've just got the one. I don't know that I'll do like devil's bargain.
Okay, you don't on. Okay, that's fine. You
Yeah.
want to push yourself or anything?
I only have 3 stress left. I'm
All right.
falling off.
All right, go for it.
See how this goes. Yay! I did it.
oh shit.
Wow.
All right, you guys are getting some clean successes tonight. This is good too, because this is not an easy gig. But yeah, you managed to, and it kind of spills, and no one is the wiser. No one is the wiser. You empty your goblet, and as you do, like everybody else, kind of holds the goblet out in front of them, straight arm, and kind of tip it over, like it's just to demonstrate that it's empty, and you're able to do the same thing. Sethle, did you drink it all?
Oh yeah. I mean, I was really sloppy about it, but I probably got like 2 really good gulps in.
I'm gonna start a clock on Sethle getting sick from this.
Okay. I mean, I did date a vampire, so I mean, I've probably imbibed some blood at one point.
You have a very interesting way of codifying your relationship with Lord Skurlock. You think it's dating as if it was like this little equals thing.
No, it was not.
You were one of his playthings.
Oh, for
most
sure.
likely what it was, yeah.
But like Sethle's got it all like messed up in her brain.
That's fair. I won't make it a big clock then. I'll make it an 8 section clock then. That's a fair point though.
She's like, that was probably totally normal. That's normal boyfriend girlfriend stuff.
Okay, sick or high? That's a good question. Or high. It could be both. Little column A, little column B. All right. So you can see that like because everything's kind of spilling, their robes are kind of getting messy at this point. But everyone starts to now kind of pan out, and you suddenly hear the sounds of scratching, and then music begins to play. And you look over, and you can see that one of the servants that's dressed all in black has manipulated what looks like some kind of spark machine, which is effectively like a gramophone, and like music starts to set, like it comes out, and it's like this sort of strange, sort of slow, kind of monstrous sound, and eventually kind of the pace quickens, and then there's this constant, like you can feel the bass of like this heartbeat that's constantly boom, 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 boom,
just like
over
the
top.
frenzy.
Yeah, over top of some kind of brass, and people start kind of mingling again at this point as they're talking here and there. What do you two want to do? The blood raven blade. Yeah, that's damn right, Till. That's perfect. Oh man, that's a good. I like blade.
So we can move around a little bit more freely now.
Yeah, you don't see anyone leaving the room initially. I mean, servants are coming and going, but you don't see anybody in your getup leaving the room. But yeah, you're not held to that specific spot. People step down the stairs, and you see some people are like using their fingers to kind of like scoop up what looks like extra blood wine on the ground, and they lick it here and there. Others gonna move up to the woman who is drained, and they just kind of and you hear people talking like "One excellent vintage," that kind of thing going on. What would you like to do? Now, you're well aware that this person has died. Like you look down, they've been drained of so much blood. But neither of you have heard the bells that normally play whenever you don't hear anything.
What is going through Uma's mind is whether or not this type of event would be something that could be used for like blackmail or something down the road. So like she's wondering if there might be a benefit to trying to get a good look at these 3 individuals, just trying to really kind of make a mental note of what they look like, to try to maybe connect this family via blackmail down the road to these murders essentially in this ritual. So she wants to move closer and try to do like a study of those 3 and try to get a really good like mental image of like what they look like, and then try to like maybe connect that later.
All right, you said study. Is that the action you want to roll?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that sounds great. Do you want I mean, this is again, I still think the Burnside clock is the one that makes the most sense in this case, as like the devil's bargain, meaning it's not like a horrible complication, but it could cause issues later for you when they arrive. If they arrive. Okay, so there's now 4 of 6 in that. So there's 2 more to go on that one.
And Sethle, I'll kind of look to you and see how with it you are, since I saw that you drank.
Oh no, she's on
everything?
her hands and knees, like licking up all the extra stuff. At the, not just teasing.
No, but I'm definitely kind of like maybe like dancing by myself as I'm like holding my goblet or whatever.
You
Okay.
do feel a buzz, by the way. You do feel
Mhm.
both of you feel. Actually, no. I guess Uma, since you technically didn't drink, you don't really feel a buzz. But Setla, you do feel a buzz. But you're also drug dealers. I feel like you probably sampled
Do I
the merchandise at
recognize
some point.
the buzz that like I'm?
Yeah, it's a muted. It's sort of a muted stupor that you're in. Like it's like you feel very relaxed more than anything. Like more so than anything else. You don't feel like you're not hallucinating. You're not going through some kind of like, you whatever it is. Like it's basically been diluted to some degree. But also there's the wine, but you feel extraordinarily relaxed right now, pliant even.
Would you be willing to assist me?
It's true. She's unstable in dancing. Oh, yeah, that could be a complication to Old Twitch. That totally could be a complication at some point. She accidentally gets into one of her summoning
I
trance.
accidentally just like attune.
I am. Oh, go away, virus scan. Yeah, that's a good idea. Accidental
That's
God
funny.
damn it. Jeff's like, let me write this
dance
down.
trance summoning. I am writing it down.
I love it. That's kind of
accidental
cool.
dance trance summoning. Oh, it's so fantastic. Alright.
Yeah, I can assist.
Okay.
Okay. So the two of
Alright.
you just kind of start to take a couple steps forward to really start to try to get the faces and the the bodies of this. Again, they're not wearing anything, but there's like these kind of flowing silk ribbons that are like they're not bound. You don't see any handcuffs. You don't see anything like that. You don't see that. You don't see any signs of even wounds on them whatsoever. But you took the devil's bargain. You
I
got
did.
+1 from Sethless. That's 2 extra die there.
Oh no.
You gotta let me set the difficulty.
Oh, sorry.
But risky standard would have been fine.
Jeff, you said there was like a big thing that they were getting the wine from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that like an open container?
What do you mean a big thing they were getting? Oh no, there were carafes. So like on each of the places there were carafes and goblets and things like that. So no, it wasn't one big like keg or anything like that.
Okay.
Though likely there is something of that somewhere. It's just likely they've poured it into these carafes first to bring it out.
Got it. Okay.
So, Uma, as you try to get close, the bare-faced woman steps in between you and your study target and leans really close to you, and you hear like a sniff, like, and you hear this voice that you know and you're familiar with say, in this like kind of guttural, like Mama Purdy voice. She says, "I thought I smelled the pudding on you. You're not supposed to be here, Uma." And we're cut over now to
Wait.
Oliver outside,
Jeffrey.
who's got a hawk on his attacking him. What do you want to do, buddy?
I'm shaking him off. Trying to get rid of it, pretty much to ignore me. And how I want to do that is potentially give it like some live rat or something.
You want to say you have live rats on?
Yeah,
Actually,
maybe that's a loadout item, right?
Yeah.
that's a loadout item.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've got live rats on me
Sweet.
Yeah.
because I knew
So
there'd be
mark your
birds there,
loadout.
maybe.
And you did some surveying of the place. You saw these hawks. You know he's a game hawk. I think all of this makes perfect sense. That's really smart, dude. So it's still gonna be a roll, but it's gonna be like increased effect for this, right? Like your effect's gonna go. Now I'm gonna say like it's still risky because you're still trying to feed an angry hawk, but I'm gonna say great effect here with the use of your thing. So whatever you want to, however you want to roll it, that's the position I would probably set for this.
One of
Risky
my
because you're
staple here, swaying the animals.
classic. And I would say I'll say that the devil's. Do you want a devil's bargain, or do you want to push yourself or anything?
Right now I have no dice going into this, right?
It's going to be risky great, and so it's whatever you have. And you said you wanted to do sway, so it's whatever you have in
Yeah, it's
sway.
whatever I have.
Yeah,
What do
how
you
many
have in
pips
sway?
and
I
sway do you
have
have?
3. It's pretty good. So
You happy with that? I can give you a devil's bargain if you want.
You don't have to take it.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I'll do
You
stress.
just hear
instead.
it and decline.
Yeah.
Why do you have something? You have
Do I have something?
good, or-
Do I have something specific in mind here?
Yeah.
Not in particular. I would say that like devil's bargain. Okay, here's my devil's bargain. Actually, now I have it.
Okay.
So, you know my dog, Ripley, right? Sweet little girl. I give her treats, and she expects them now at certain times of the day.
Yes, she
You're
does.
gonna bond with this hawk, and this hawk is going to come back. It's gonna want more from you, and so it might be an issue. It's gonna come back looking for more treats from you, for better or worse.
I love it. You made a friend.
You want to take it?
Might as well. Yeah. Let's bottom
All right, take it. So you're gonna.
Yeah.
So this is now you're gonna partially like Pavlovian condition this hawk right off the bat that like you have rats to give it. All right.
All right.
Specifically, if it attacks you, you will give it rats.
Oh, partial success. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I think the complication is going to be a tick on the Burnside's arrival. So that'll be I'll take care of the complication for that. But the great effect is that the hawk shuts the hell up, grabs the rat, lets go of your shoulder, and flies back up to a roost, leaving you alone. Your shoulder hurts. It's bleeding. It's bloody. You look down. Your robe has been damaged a little bit. But overall, like you're okay. Now you still hear the sounds of like boots on the gravel that's around here, so you know that someone's coming to inspect what just happened, because likely these hawks are part of some kind of security system, right? So you know that you can't just stay here. So what do you want to do?
I'll drop around this area so if someone comes looking, they'll see it's food, maybe, and then I'll leave.
So you have a second rat.
Yeah.
All right. Do we want to?
Or maybe I shouldn't waste it because I know this hawk's.
I'll tell you what. We'll say a
Roll it.
loadout. We'll say a loadout of 3 rat. Or we'll say rats. You have an inventory of 3, and that'll be one loadout. We'll call it that. So like, and they're not.
Okay.
They'll be more like mice, like small, like little. They're not going to be huge rats. They're going to be
Yeah,
small, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to give one to the hawk, and then if you want to drop it on the ground, and then you still have one left, I'm fine with that.
All right, that sounds good.
Okay. So you pocket one rat, you leave one down on the ground, and then you like shuffle off into the shadows, and you look back and you can see this individual walk up that's as they're kind of a large hulking figure. You're not sure if it's the person that was in front of the workshop or not, but it's definitely one of these people that's dressed like they've got weaponry on them. Like you can see what looks like these large blades. They're dressed nicely as if like they're in a particular uniform for the evening. But overall, they seem to they're kind of inspecting and they're kind of looking around. You hear them whistle a little bit. They do that classic sigh, like there's a question mark over their head, but eventually the question mark goes away, and then they return back to whatever their post was, having seemed to be like their curiosity satisfied, kind of shooing are they dead rats or live rats? I think dead rats makes more sense.
Yeah.
Live, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah.
We can have it then.
All right. So we'll say they pick the rat up and kind of carrying it with them. Okay. Yeah, I know you still want to get in this workshop. So how else do you want to try to do this? I can come back if you want. If you want me to come back to you, you want to think about somewhere. I can do that.
I still want to get to it. Just if I can continue prowling, I just want to see.
You've definitely prowled around, but you've
okay.
drawn some attention. So the question is, like, you're around, like you're probably hiding behind the workshop. Like there's no entrance back here. You're in the shadows, so you're still here, but you know that there's a little bit of alertness going on. But your quick thinking with the rat might have diffused some of that alertness. So like you're close enough now to like the rear of the workshop, but you're nowhere near the front. There doesn't seem to be a back entrance or anything like that.
Okay. Even there's like maybe a window or some sort
You
of
do
sill.
see windows, but they're more like slits. Like they're like these small verticals. So it's not big enough for you to slide into. It almost looks like a barn in the sense that it's much taller. Like it's probably just one floor. It might have a loft or something like that. And you think that there's some slots to it. You didn't get a good look at the roof, and so you don't know whether there's a way in from above.
Is it single story? You said there was a loft, so maybe 2.
Think of it like maybe a story and a half, and like it's got like kind of the kind of the hip gable peak, I should say.
I'll climb it and then see what's on top.
All right.
If there's any way up.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead and that's a yeah. I guess that would probably just be a roll to climb up. Whatever you want. Like what do you want to do to climb up? Because there's no like ladder or anything here, so you're just kind of doing like a flat, like climbing up a wall onto the roof, and you're trying to do it also quietly without alerting anybody or anything. So this is an action roll.
So I'm wondering maybe if there's like a tree or some crates or like a fence, something nearby that has better grip than the walls.
I think it's fair to say that there are a handful of crates and stuff out here. Looks like maybe empty crates, like whatever was inside, they've kind of stored out here. I think that's fair. Yeah.
And then maybe a finesse.
Okay, finesse to try to like balance your way up. Sure. Yeah, I think this is controlled because you're using the crates, so I don't think you have any super risk here. Controlled standard.
I'll push myself here for the extra.
All right. Sounds good.
Oh, that's not good.
No, it's not. You tried to sort of climb up. Now you can, because this was controlled, you can press on by seizing a risky opportunity, or you can withdraw and try a different approach. So this is what's going to happen. You're starting to kind of hop and climb up these crates, and you reach up and you grab the edge of the roof. Right as you do, the crates themselves just kind of collapse under your weight because there's nothing in them. There's nothing reinforcing them, and they kind of scatter about a bit, and you're just left dangling with like one arm. You can drop to the ground easily and just kind of withdraw and do something else, or you can try a different roll approach to kind of pull yourself up onto the roof. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What's more of the physical actions? I'm not really seeing.
So you could probably, I mean, finesse, prowl, anything under prowess would work. Finesse and prowl are probably the two most common. Wreck, I mean, I'm not sure if that applies here. It's up to you if you can think of something creative way of using it. Skirmish is more like fighting. Wreck is like breaking things, can sometimes be used for fighting, other stuff like that. So if you think of somehow, if you think like hypothetically like could break somehow work here, then yeah, you can come up with it. If you think, but it doesn't have to be physical. Like you could come up with something creative with sort of studying like the roofing shingles or something like that, finding a sturdy, something sturdy, whatever it might be.
Oh, I see. Okay. I like that idea, so I can steal it real quick.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, and so this is going to be risky standard because you're looking specifically for like a good handhold because you can feel your grip slipping, you can feel the tiles kind of sliding off, and you're looking for something more sturdy to grab on. I think you have the same in survey and study. I think, either one's fine. It's the same roll, so go ahead. Risky standard. And if you want a devil's bargain, I'm going to say we fill up high on the Burnside's arrival, which would completely fill it.
Bargain. I'll take the 2 here.
It would completely fill it.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh.
Go for it.
Oh, come on, please. All right, partial success.
All right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you get up no problem. Like, you're up here, no problem whatsoever. But as you're up here, you see that some of the tiles kind of start doing the comical slide down, like slide, clump, 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 and they smash down around the ground, making a lot of noise, also like clattering, and that's probably going to draw someone's attention. to this little angle. And they might even start looking up to the roof at that point. Now, while you're up here, you look out and you have a decent view of the canal from here, and you can see a gondola has parked at the dock, and you can see what looks like two individuals who are getting off of that gondola, while the gondola pilot themselves is staying on there. They walk up to the gate itself. They have a little bit of an exchange, and they start eventually, after kind of a heat exchange, the gates open and they come inside. Now, the lighting's not very good, but I'll say that you notice that they're wearing very similar masks to the one that you're wearing. And so you would guess that this might be the Burnsides having arrived. All right, inside, Uma, you recognize this voice. Do you know who this voice is? I can tell you, but do you know who it is?
Please tell me.
It's your rival. You know this woman, this apothecary by the name of Stasia, as she steps forward, and you can smell the cabbage on her breath. You can hear the Mama Parody voice as she says this, and she grabs your wrist and she squeezes, but she also hasn't yet screamed out and yanked your mask off. What do you want to do?
I basically want to try to have a chat with her that neither of us particularly belong here, but we may be able to keep each other's secrets, so to speak. So I'm essentially going for a consort, and then I can kind of see how it goes, and then kind of repeat from there.
This is going to be risky with limited effect.
Okay.
Yeah,
Desperate,
she's not
please.
a fan of your rivals. I'm saying it's impossible that you can't win something over, but yeah.
All right. Can I do desperate?
Yeah, you want to downgrade to desperate, kick it up to standard. Sure.
Yeah.
And you're doing consort.
Yes.
Okay.
Devil's
Do you
bargain.
want to help Sethla?
Man, I am really filling out my trauma bar for Melissa tonight.
Yep. Your stress bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can push this one myself, and then I'll still have one more left.
No, I'll take it.
Okay. So you get an extra one from her, and then you said you wanted a devil's bargain. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Devil's bargain is +2 heat. You've been identified. She knows she knows you. She recognized you, so it's very clear that she knows exactly who you are. She might know.
Left.
It's heat, not stress.
Yeah. No, I know.
Oh, you're going up for sure on this. There's no way you're not.
Okay.
There's no way you're not. It's just a question of how much you go up.
All right, I'll take it.
Okay, +2 heat. All right, Stasia.
We've already gotten +4 heat from this.
She recognizes you.
Minimum.
One way or the other. All right, so you got the extra die from Setha. You got the extra die from the Devil's Bargain. Go ahead and roll your consort.
Success.
Okay. So she'll say, and as much as she can whisper, she'll say, "I don't know where your game is here, but I've got a bit of a racket going just fine, taking care of them orcs, making them big and juicy and angry. And if you do anything to threaten that job of mine, I'll make sure the next bit of food they eat is your fucking pudding-filled belly."
I'm not here to do anything with you. Sometimes we need to make sure that folks don't overstep and think that because they have money, they can just take what they want from us.
She'll
So I
sniff.
think it's good for both of us if you just.
Here,
I'll
I'm watching
turn
you.
my back and you turn yours.
And she does do that, actually. She does let go of your arm, and she moves to the other, but you can feel her eyes on you the whole time. Okay. Setha, you look around and you see suddenly entering into the main house. You see these two individuals in these beautiful flowing robes, and they're wearing these same kind of mask that you're wearing. And you hear somebody approach them. Oh, Lord Burnside, I was wondering, what kept you? And he says, we're at a masked party. No names, you foolish fuck. And just kind of pushes them off to the side as they wander in, and they descend down towards the the center pit, and they're trying to get like their bit of the goblet. See, you started without us. Something about your man at the gate said there's someone here, claiming to be cousins of mine. Have you had any problems yet? And you overhear all this because you guys are intermingling. And you had no. You hear the man who invited everyone to the home say, no problems at all. I think you're being paranoid. Everything has been just fine. The first of our volunteers has been hollowed accordingly. We're about to start the second. And like they kind of have this heated exchange, but eventually they calm down when the host says, fine. And I'll have my men inquire. They'll peek around. We'll figure out which one of these folks here is a wolf in sheep's clothing, if such a wolf exists. Always so paranoid, Burnsides. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not supposed to use names. We all know who we are. And he kind of wanders off, and you can see that he calls over. This is the host of the party. Calls over. Looks like one of the mercenary types, and they have an exchange. You can't hear this one. And you would imagine that they're spreading the word that somebody at the party might not be who they're supposed to be. So I'm starting a new clock. And that's going to be your discovery.
No.
All right. So what do you want to do? What do you guys want to do inside?
Uma wants to leave.
Yeah, I know, I do too.
Okay.
Like I'm looking for like a prowl opportunity to like.
Okay.
You know.
Well, right now, no. There's basically any kind of prowl would be no effect if you're trying to leave out the way they are, like way you came, which is that kind of double door going out into the back of the estate where the canals are and where the workshop is, because they're standing in the middle of that doorway, and like it's not big enough that you're going to sneak past. So like it'll be a no effect type of thing. Doesn't mean you couldn't prowl elsewhere and try to like sneak your way out. So think of it in those terms.
That's what I was thinking of, like maybe going, like maybe finding like a door that like a servant or something is like next to, and then.
Okay, this could be. So I mean, we can handle this a couple different ways. We can do like a setup action. Somebody surveys, somebody, whatever. I shouldn't say that, but like we could do a setup action where somebody tries to find the thing, and then the other person, or we can just a group action where you both kind of stealth your way out. Either one's fine. It's not hard to find. It's not hard to find exits out of the place. So I probably don't even need. So ignore this, like the setup stuff. Yeah, this just sounds like maybe a group action, maybe for prowling out.
Okay.
Because I heard Melissa said prowl, so we could do a group action.
Do you have pips in prowl?
I have one pip in prowl.
I don't have any, so I could take the stress of it if it's a group action.
We both roll, and so then we just take the highest.
The leader takes the stress.
You're the leader. Yeah.
Yeah. But
okay.
Yeah.
I'm
offering to take the stress.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then
so you're gonna lead. So Sethla, you're gonna lead the way and try to sneak the two of you out of this room.
And I'll take 2 stress to get an extra pip.
Okay. Fair enough. So this is going to be risky standard.
What I was.
What you thinking?
I don't like prowl. Could we do where you said like kind of just because I want to use a tune because that's my best one, but like I don't want to. I just want to just kind of like make someone like turn the other way kind of thing, like maybe like the servant to like make it easier for us to get out.
The attune would be risky and no effect.
Oh.
Now, you think for a second. The bells didn't go off. A body just, you would probably surmise there's some kind of dampening something or other in here. A charm, a device, something in the room to prevent such chicanery.
Could we? I want.
So that would be. I'm not saying. So I would say it's risky, no effect.
Okay.
Which isn't to say that you couldn't still do it. Go to desperate and get a limited effect, and if you roll really well, maybe even kick the effect up, and like maybe the strength of your ability to reach into the ghost field or attract the ghost could be enough to like bypass that dampening. But you would know that like you would probably surmise that there's something going on. How far it extends, you're not sure, but certainly within this room at the very least.
Okay. Yeah. I'll go desperate.
That's just gonna put you to limited effect.
Mm-hmm. We said so desperate. That's just just limited. Fuck.
Yeah, which means that they could turn their head, but they might turn their head all the way. They might catch one of you on your way out. They might follow you. They might not make a stink immediately, but they might follow you instead and see where you're going. That type of thing. So understand that limited doesn't necessarily mean it's going to do exactly what you want.
Okay. Yeah.
That's how I'm reading it.
Yeah. What is that the devil's bargain?
Oh no, no, that's not the devil's bargain. That's what limited effect would mean. The devil's bargain is that I tick the clock for you're discovered. That's an extra tick on that clock.
Is?
What's that? It's a 6 slice clock. There's currently nothing in it.
Okay.
And and what I'm going to do is various complications from partial successes and things might tick the clock as well. But in this case, like you're tapping into the attune field, which could potentially draw attention to you, and that whether you're successful or you fail at this sheer act of doing that might draw attention your way, might draw eyes your way. So yeah, it's gonna tick the clock.
Okay.
If you want the devil's bargain.
I do.
Okay. Done.
Okay. I'm clicking it. I got +1. Desperate limited.
Okay. Go for it.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Holy. Okay.
Critical success.
All right. So you maybe with like Uma kind of flanking or covering you a little bit, you kind of slink back into the corner of the room, into the shadows near one of these like the bookcases that are built into the walls. And
I've already been dancing.
Yeah. You get through some sort of dancing moment with hiding behind it, and you make a little movement with your hands, and you kind of like spin your hands. You've got like fingers kind of moving and blaring, and you kind of twirl, and you can see that there is a servant that is flanking what looks like a swing door that you think might go into a kitchen that's just down the hall. And like they start to sort of spin and spin and spin and spin, and they get kind of dizzy as they're kind of spinning around in this rapid fashion. And you see them hurry off into a different room in the hall, and you suddenly hear as they've kind of dizzied themselves into a sickness, and they've dipped into like a powder room. And that means the hallway is free, and that door is now entirely open. So increased effect is from that.
Excellent.
All right. So the two of you hurry down the hall, open the door, and you are in fact in a kitchen. Now there are people in here, but it's a very large kitchen, and you can see that there's people kind of coming and going, and you see like there's one person that seems to be working at some kind of stove, and there another one that's kind of like layering out what looks like a new like run of like the carafes, like they're moving the carafes over to what looks like a keg, and they're kind of pouring out some wine and refilling them. They have their back turned currently, but somebody else is kind of working on setting up some like hors d'oeuvre trays or some such. You look around in the room and you can see that there is a hatch door that goes down. Okay. And you also see there appears to be a door leading out, but in doing so, you're going to be passing perilously close, very, very close to the individual that's pouring the carafes here and there. So think about that. We'll come back to you as Oliver is outside. Oliver, you just watched who you imagine are the Burnsides go inside. You knocked over some tiles. You hear like the boot prints as there. People are kind of moving around. They kind of figure something's going on, but they haven't quite pinpointed who's out here. But you're on the roof of this workshop. You look around and you do notice that there appears to be a skylight up here.
I'll take a look, see if I can get in.
Sure, you look down. It's glass, but you can see through it. And you see into, again, it looks like it's some kind of barn. But you can see like within the barn, there is this kind of tethered off area where there's a series of lightning walls that have been set up and these little pylons that are at the corners. And then it's creating kind of an encased section, like a secure section of this workshop. And then you can see there's a handful of what looks like workshop, places where someone might be working, tinkering, that kind of stuff. You see tools, devices, etc. But there appears to be some kind of lightning field set up. You can see similar to the lightning walls that surround the entirety of Duskfall, but on a much smaller and more localized setting. And the pylons are the ones that are kind of connecting those walls themselves. As it pulses, you can see that there is several barrels and crates that seem to be hidden within it, that you would imagine are probably your stuff. Or at the very least, it's valuable because it's within a lightning field.
Mm-hmm. So this lightning field's like preventing, is it over the entire barn, sort of like the interior?
No,
or?
it's just it's a section inside the workshop that just seems to be like, this is like the way of them securing this material. And then there's a handful of like work tables and such, stools, stuff like that, where it looks like people might work, tinkerers and in the sort.
Yeah, so I'll see if I can crack this sunroof open.
Yeah, you can crack it open. That's not a problem. It's just it's a question of whether you want to just crack. If you crack it open, or you can try to like jimmy it open quietly, kind of up to you.
And then, yeah, I'm gonna do that and see if I can lower myself in.
Okay, so just crack it open, and like the glass cracks, which is just sort of adding. I'm not gonna no roll for this. I'm just gonna add to like the potential of discovery. Basically, is like they could discover more. Is the sound? There's like all these little sounds and stuff out here. The hum of the floodlights is gone, so everything's just a little quieter out here than it was when you first arrive. But you lower yourself inside, and you are inside a workshop. You can see the giant doors off to your right as you hop down, and off to your left is the secure lightning walled area. There's a handful of these tables. You can see on one of the tables there looks to be a lantern that's pulsing a little bit, but the lightning field itself is giving off enough light to kind of give you vision in the room. What would you like to do?
I guess let's study whatever this field or whatever's making it is.
Okay. What's your goal here with this roll? What are you trying to accomplish?
Let's see if it can be like deactivated.
Oh, like find a power source.
Trying to figure out how it works or something like that. Is that what you're trying to do? Okay.
Yeah, just how it works.
Sure. I would say risky standard, because there's always the potential of messing around with spark devices like this where malfunction could hurt you. So I'll say risky standard. It's not fully controlled because you never know when these guards that have heard all of these little noises might pop their head in. But yeah, risky standard. The clock of discovery would be the devil's bargain if you wanted it.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a little spicier. I'll take it.
All right, that's 2 of 6.
Okay, I'm gonna need it.
And
Let's
again,
go.
I want to stress for everybody that that's not the only way that that's going to get filled. As a complication from certain rolls, partial successes, failed rolls, that could fill up. Just so you know. So Devil's Bargain is just like an extra way. It's just like you're pushing it, you're pushing it, you're pushing it. That's why it's a
Sure.
Devil's Bargain.
Okay, partial. I'll take it.
All right. All right. So you take a look and you realize the best way, the best course of action likely here would be to somehow disable one of the pylons. If you can disable one of the pylons, you probably could make this work. Now, the danger, however, is that if you do this incorrectly, you're pretty sure that there could be like a misalignment of the lightning field, and that could effectively like kind of shoot lightning out at you and kind of like course over your body to some degree. And I'm going to say for the complication, it's reduced effect. So the limited effect is that that's all you get. You don't know exactly how to disable the pylons. Like you don't have like a clear bonus to like what your next position was going to be. So you just know that, you know, it could be just wrecking them, destroying them. It could be tinkering with them. Could be whatever it is you want to. But you're certain that just messing around with these pylons and screwing with the alignment could probably screw up the whole field. Okay, and you're also in a workshop too, so that's something to think about. I'm gonna kick back inside. You're in a kitchen. This is Sethla and Uma. You see there's a chef that's messing around with hors d'oeuvres. They're all dressed in black, just like all the other servants, and then there's another one that's filling up carafes with the wine. And you know that there's a door, that if you went towards the door, you'd be passing perilously close to this person filling up the wine. And you know that if you went to the hatch going down, you would be coming fairly close to the chef. So either way, they're not like watching it, but they're very close to it.
So Uma's going to kind of look at Sethla and kind of motion toward the door.
Okay.
And, you know, kind of questioning, like, door?
Yeah, she did. I don't want to go down.
Okay.
So
How are you at consort?
0.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Finesse?
Yeah, your guy who's good at that kind of face stuff, he's trying to tinker with a lightning box, and the person who's good at tinkering with lightning, is in here.
Yeah.
Whoopsie. Okay, so how do you want to get out of here?
I mean, I kind of just want to go toward the door. Like, I don't see a particular reason why we would be prohibited from going out the door. I just don't want, like, the main thing is I just want to make sure that we're not like bumping into her, because it was definitely going to cause a problem if we like spill.
So we just want to like sneak by, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I was thinking finesse maybe.
Okay. So like,
or
you can just walk. I mean, like what you say is not wrong. The idea of like you could just walk out the door, that's not an issue.
Yeah.
It's always just a question of what might that entail, like in terms of like if they see something, they stop you.
Because I kind of just want to be, I kind of just want to like walk through the kitchen and be like behind, and then just kind of walk past it out. Yeah, like it's just like we're going somewhere and we're making sure that she's not surprised by us. We're not running into her. So like that's sort of what my thought is.
So, and that doesn't require a roll, by the way. If you just want to walk out the door, just walk out the door. It doesn't require a roll.
And just say like behind, and so she's not scared. And just walk out the door.
So that's exactly what you do. You walk past. You say behind the person with the crafts. They look up. They kind of, yes, ma'am. And you walk out the door, and you hear the chef say, "No one's supposed to go out." So, and then the door closes as you hear what sounds like a warning of some kind. All right. You are out behind the house. You look off to your right, and you can see what looks like the rear of the carriage house, like where they store like their personal carriage. And you look off to the left, and you can see in the distance is the workshop. And then if you look straight ahead, you can see what looks like the gate that in the fence, the kind of the tall iron fence that just surrounds everything. And you can see what looks like a neighboring house beyond it. Long's got a fan. Oh, Long, do you have Clash tonight? I should have asked. My bad.
No, I don't.
Okay, right on.
It's one of my Clash buddies.
Oh yeah, I know. It's what reminded me of it.
So, Satha, did we see where he was going? Like, meta, like we don't actually know where he is right now?
One other thing I should give you, by the way, is that there's one of
Yes.
these lampposts out here, and there's no light coming from it. It's very dark out here. It's like it's almost pitch black. It's almost like everywhere else in Duskfall, because like the light of these floodlights has gone off now, and so you just see a handful of like lights from lanterns and other little small spark light devices here and there scattered about, like over by the carriage, over by the workshop. Some of the guards, they're doing their rounds. You still hear the sounds of woof, woof, of these like hawks that are kind of circling about here and there, but yeah, you don't see as well because it's just so dark. So what do you want to do?
I think we knew that there was something in the workshop, so I presume if we found that when we were scanning the grounds, that maybe Oliver also found that. So I think we should just start heading towards the workshop.
Okay. You move over so you hang a left and you go towards the workshop, and when you get there, you can see that there are 3 guards that are in the area. One of them seems to be still at their post at the very front at the door, but then there's 2 others that seem to be kind of patrolling and kind of looking around here and there. One of them is like looking up at the roof, trying to figure something out, and the other is looks like they're just kind of holding up what looks like some kind of spark light device that's giving this kind of blue glow on some of the surrounding objects and decorations and statues and stuff that are in the yard here and there. It looks like they're looking for something. You don't see any sign, however, of Oliver. You look off to your left as you're like at the corner of the house, and you can see where that wraparound porch begins, where people were kind of mingling at first. And you realize that probably about 100 feet to the left is where that double door is that would lead back inside. And then on the opposite side of the workshop is the canal and like the dock where the gondolas are. What would you guys like to do?
Is there anyone that's still working the gondola area?
You do in fact see that there's a couple gondolas that are there, and there's workers. Yeah, there's kind of the gondoliers, I guess you can call them. But I don't want to confuse that with a faction. But yeah, you can see them. They're docked up, and some of them are just floating in the water here and there, and just waiting perhaps for their charges that are inside.
Is there like a garden shed or something like on the grounds?
You did not see a garden shed, no. I'm not going to give you the one that Oliver found because he actually found that with a roll. So like if you wanted to search for like other hidden places, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you would probably want to look around for something. Yeah.
I think I'd like to do a survey because as it seems right now, I think there's just one guard that we particularly need to worry about because we've got the one that's looking up and we've got one that's kind of...
They're all within very close proximity of the workshop. One of them's right in front by the door. One of them's looking at the rooftop of the door of the barn, workshop. God damn. And the other is just kind of like sort of patrolling around it. All of them are within relatively close proximity.
Yep.
But okay, survey, and you're intending to discover what? Like what's your objective here?
Kind of like because I'm trying to see kind of pattern and
gotcha. Sounds good.
Time.
To me, like you're kind of right now. I've got you hidden behind the house. No one's really expecting anyone to be back here. I'll give you a controlled position for this. Standard effect.
Okay.
And again, the discovery clock, by the way, is up to 3 of 6. But if you would, because just walking past has alerted them that someone has come outside. So the question is whether or not you want that as your devil's bargain.
I'll go ahead and push myself. So I've got one stress left.
Because you didn't do that inside?
I did not. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So that'll give me 2 dice that I'm rolling
All right.
on this.
Yeah, controlled standard, I think, because no one's really looking behind the house right now.
Can I drop it to risky to get great? Desperate.
Yeah, you're rolling from desperate. Just remember the problem with rolling from desperate is that the complication you could stress out from this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, then never mind. I'll leave it at controlled.
You can do it. I'm just saying, like, it's a potential.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Partial success.
Okay. So you minor consequence, minor complication occurs. You have a reduced effect. Okay, so this is gonna be minor. So I'm not gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna tick the clock then for a minor. Okay. You are able to tell that you could probably sneak behind the workshop at a certain point, because it looks like the person who's doing like shining the light is taking their time with it, and they're really like over like in a very systematic way looking at specific areas. And if you just wait like a good minute or two, they're probably going to move on, and that's going to give you maybe like 4 or 5 minutes to work with before they start kind of getting, and you can sneak behind the workshop itself. I will say that the minor complication, however, is that you hear the door behind you open, and there's one of those servants that you saw inside. You're like, madam, as they're like kind of looking around for you behind. And that's the complication. There's now a servant that's kind of like peeking around out back. So it's not as, so being in this area is not as safe as it was a moment ago. Sethla, what do you want to do?
So there's a servant now out here, right? That we
Yeah,
can
they
hear?
got the door open and they're just kind of looking, and they're like just kind of peering, meaning like anything you do back here isn't going to have the controlled position anymore.
Sethla's pretty much gonna wait and make sure that they don't come out looking for us, and if they do, then I'm gonna engage with them.
Okay. All right, we'll jump inside the barn then. Oliver, you've got this workshop around you. No one's come inside. You can hear like the pulsing of the pylons and the lightning, but you can also periodically hear in the midst of that like like gravel boot steps outside as well. But no one's come inside. Doesn't look like the guards come inside. What would you like to do?
Yeah, I want to like search the workshop, see if there's like tools.
Tons of them.
Or anything I could use.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's tons of tools in here. It's just a question of what you want to try to accomplish.
Yeah, I'll just pick something up and just mess with this pylon, just destroy it because I have no idea.
Okay, yeah. You can grab a spanner. Yeah, there's plenty of spanners. There's a whole array of them, different sizes. Some as big as like as a small child. Others as small as like a finger. Plenty of these. So you wanna try to just mess with this pylon?
Yeah.
What you thinking of rolling?
I've got finesse. If any of this dex helps at all.
Sure. So I'll say this is going to be desperate, but standard. As there's great danger in messing around with spark devices when you don't know what the hell you're doing, and you could get seriously hurt by this if you undo the wrong thing. But you can also just mash it up, bash one of these pylons, and that could potentially cause an issue. So I think that's where you'd be at with this.
I'll push myself for this.
Okay, so you're gonna take 2 stress, get your extra die.
Yeah,
all right,
there we
go for it, man.
That's not what I want to see. Okay.
Oh no.
I failed.
Okay.
We don't have any rerolls or anything, do we?
No, I don't think so.
Shit.
No, it's been a dry night. You get electrocuted, level 2 harm.
Oh no.
As you just feel this intense amount of like current just coursing through you at this point, and you fall down on the ground, like electrocuted. So level 2 harm, electrocution, and sort of electrical burns with that. And you look back up, and the field's still intact. All right. Sethla, they don't seem to be following you all the way out. No.
Okay. Then I'm not. Do we want her uniform, Uma?
So what did you say?
I think Uma's looking to take advantage of the dark as much as possible. And so just kind of getting to the product and using the dark, I think, is kind of the plan.
So I mean, like Uma, you have a clear, you know how to get like to the workshop. Yeah, Karan, go ahead. That sounds good. 10K channel points for a reroll. I'll take that. 10K channel points for a reroll. We're playing with right now. We got to do something with our channel points. We just
we do.
With them. We always say that, and then we never do. We're so lazy.
I have stuff written down too.
We just never have to change it. Do it. Yeah.
What? Because there's 3 guards. Would casting Tempest for like hopefully like a heavy fog or like roaring winds, would that help with like potentially the falcons and stuff?
Oh yeah, potentially. Yeah.
I don't like
I like
that.
it. I like it.
No, I think it's a great idea. I think it's fantastic. And so you're just looking to cast this? Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be limited effect. And it's going to be
because it's the whole
keep risky position.
I want to see. I don't want to cast that right now. Then,
okay.
Could I try and like study to see if I can recognize something that's dampening?
I would say.
Or would that be like a survey?
I mean, that's a no effect right now because you don't know what you're not looking at anything in particular. So like it would just be like you kind of theorizing off of just the fact that there's something dampening. So you're not looking at a device, you're not looking at like runes, you haven't found anything that has the potential to be the source of it.
Okay.
So because you haven't found that, I think whatever you roll is going to have no effect, which again doesn't mean you can't roll it, but you got to you got to take it down to desperate and then you have to roll really well to increase the effect.
Okay.
So you could still do it. But it's going to have no effect just because you're really just going off one data point, and that's stuff's
that was in the
dampened
room.
Here.
Yeah,
that's it. You're just like stuff's dampened. That's it. You just don't know what's doing it. It's a big estate, lots of rooms and places and things like that.
That's true. Yeah, and
So
we
you
didn't
don't know
go
what's
into
in
the creepy basement.
It's totally
hatch.
fine. Totally fine. Told you this one was gonna be hard.
I know.
You can still cast the Tempest. So understand though, Tempest is just gonna be like you're at a risky position because there's a person in the back now, so it's not gonna be controlled anymore. But the effect is still gonna be limited. It's not gonna be nothing. It's just not gonna have as big an effect. So likely like if as long as you roll decently, the magic goes through, and like you get your fog. If you crit succeed, your effect goes up and it's normal, but otherwise it just might be a thinner fog than you wanted. And like that's what a limited effect might be. So it could still function. It's just whatever they got going on here, they just have something that's just screwing around with that access to ghost field and messing around with spirits. They're draining people of bodies,
murdering people and getting away with
the
it.
hell's going on in this estate?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
We drank it.
You drank
you
it.
know,
I spilled it.
I'm still a little unstable, so I think I'm just gonna I realize that maybe it's dampened, but maybe it's not clicking, and I'm just gonna try and still do it anyways.
Okay, yeah. So risky limited,
Limited,
is where we're at. So it's a tune. The Devil's Bargain I'm going to give you is I'm going to fill up 3 pies.
No.
On Sethla Gets Sick, which was an 8-thing chart. Remember how you were?
Oh yeah, I'll take that.
Which only has 1. I'm going to fill up 3. So this is going to get you halfway there because you are. And so my thinking for this is that you're straining yourself so hard here that it's gonna. Yeah, that's my idea.
I like it. Okay. I can't look at my rolls. I'm nervous. I'm doing it.
Yay!
Okay.
You also probably should. You could have dropped yourself down to. Did you go down to desperate, by the way? You didn't go down
no,
to
it's
desperate.
just-
You
No,
rolled.
I
you
did
rolled-
not. I
okay.
was scared. I did.
So it's
I did it
still a
already.
limited effect. Okay, so it is
Yeah.
still limited effect, and so you see, as you kind of go through your little dance, you move your little hands, you do your little.
It's
do your
just
little
kind of like
thing, and you see as these tendrils of fog begin to kind of come up from the waters of the canal, seems to come out from these little gaps in the dark, or gaps in the light here and there from the darkness as they kind of slowly work their way. And it's not like obvious, like it's instantaneous. It's just this slow build up, and it's not like a pea soup thickness, but it's like it's definitely obscured a little bit, but the lights are still shining pretty easily. You can still see the people moving about, but it's like it might give you that extra bit a second or that extra bit of camouflage for someone not to recognize you. So it's gonna, again, limited effect, but it's not as thick as you would like, but you've managed to get through it. And because you got success and not a partial success, I will not tick the discovery box either. Had you got a partial success,
fantastic.
I would have
Yeah.
ticked that. Okay. So so you now have you've created this fog in the area. Uma, you've timed it so you can between this and your timing, I feel like the two of you could probably get over to the workshop without requiring a roll. Like I think you can get you can time it between those two things. Yeah, it's totally vape level. It's like hookah bar level.
I'm just straight, just like.
You're so winded afterwards. Yeah. She's just farting left and right. That's how she formulates the fog. All right. So
Just
I
gonna
assume,
hot boxes.
do you move over to the workshop
Yes.
to the rear of the
Yeah.
workshop? Okay. All right, Oliver, you get up. You're kind of twitching a little bit. Your eyes are like kind of they don't seem to close. Like they just want to stay open, and like you have a twitch to you as you dust yourself off a little bit. You look, and the spanner that you use has got all this black torch marks on it, and you look down, your whole hand is like missing, your whole arm, your forearm is like missing a lot of your arm hair, just like kind of gets scorched off, and your heart's beating really, really, really fast. And you can see there's burn marks all over your arm and leg, and you kind of feel around. You feel a couple more here and there. Your robe is kind of torched to bits at this point. But you're okay. You're intact. You're not dead. But unfortunately, this lightning field is still intact. What are you thinking next? So mechanically, you could do the same thing in the sense of like screw around with a pylon somewhere. It's just you'd have to do something other than finesse. So you'd have to take a different approach, like something else you're doing, rolling a different action, that kind of thing.
Right. Oh, the problem is I suck at all of these.
It's just basically rolling a disadvantage. So, like, if you wanted to do a tinker, you can roll it. You basically just roll 2 and take the worst.
Take the worst, yeah. But you can always take the devil's bargain. You can always, push yourself. All those things get extra die. And the thing is, it's like you could leave. Like you could always leave and try to like that's not a that's like you go try to find Uma. Like this is more Uma's field. Like you can always try to go try to find her too.
Okay, if I wanted to keep doing it, though, how would that work with the harm? Because if I have no skill points and -1 or negative D1, 1D, I mean, would that like not even be possible?
I don't know, but we'll say for now you just roll 2 and take the lower until I'm not gonna look it up because I don't know where to find that. So I'll figure that out later. But we'll just say, I mean, it's hard enough as it is. So 2,
Yeah.
take the lower. Yeah.
Dang. Okay, I'm gonna have to retreat then because I can't.
Okay. Do you go out the door or do you climb back up?
I'm gonna climb back up the way I came
Okay.
up.
There's a loft and there's rafters, and we'll say it's easy enough for you to kind of get up there. I'm not going to require it. You get up to the roof and you look around and you see that there's a very light fog has begun to manifest in the area to the point where it's not as easy to see some of the people that are moving about. You can still see them, but they're not as clear. And you also can hear the sounds of like the hawks, like kind of squawking here and there, maybe a little bit of unease at this like sudden fog. You look and you can see that there's lights coming through the window of the estate itself, the manor house. And you can see there's gondolas out by the dock. And it looks like one of the patrols has moved around to the front, and if you wanted to hop off the roof, you'd have to hop off the back of the roof.
How close is this to the gate?
To the gate to the docks? The front of the workshop is relatively close. It's probably about 50 feet from the gate to the docks. If you hopped off the back, you're looking more at like 80 feet or so to the gate. To the gate that goes the steps down towards the docks.
That's not the way we came in, is it?
You came from the docks, yeah.
Okay.
So when you came up, when you climbed up the stairs, went through the gate, off to your left was the workshop, and so that's where we're at.
Remind me what this fence was like. It's possible to get over.
Yeah, it's possible, but it's like you're talking about like vertical iron bars, essentially metal bars. So not the easiest things, and they have like the anti-climb pokers at the top. So you could climb over it, sure. You're a big guy, so squeezing between it might be difficult. You can also try to bend them. You can try to do that. You can try to, like, hypothetically, like wreck or something like that to try to bend the bars to create space.
All right. For now, I want to see if there's any like guards on the way to the gates. Just like work out a path.
Yeah, you see one guard at the gate. You see one guard at the front of the workshop. You see two guards that seem to be more like patrolling in the area, and so they're all one of them is very carefully and systematically looking in like little nooks and crannies between statues and hedges and things like that. The other one is just doing a kind of a standard patrol. So you could probably time it to where the only ones that you would have to worry about are the one who's on station at the gate and the one who's on station at the workshop.
Okay. I just want to look for Uma and Settle then. I need them.
Okay. And I'll say, just to move things along, you start scooting to the back of the workshop. And you're going to look for a way to hop down that's out of eyesight, and you see there's two people dressed in the clothing that you are wearing, and they both have hawks, and I think the three of you at that point would probably recognize one another. Reunited, and it feels so good.
Where have you been? Enjoying this party while I'm getting fried out here?
And you look at him, by the way. His shoulder's torn up. He's got blood. He's got electrical burns on his face, on his arms. He's got burn marks all over his robe. He doesn't look good.
Did you stick a fork in a socket? Like...
Yeah, there's a giant socket in here. Get up here, Uma, and I'll help her up.
Okay. Yeah, with you up here, I mean, we don't got to roll for this now. I mean, we can start just doing hands. Yeah, I think at this point, it's easy enough to do some teamwork to get up here. And so one by one, yeah, you all get up here, no problem. So you're on top of the roof. Hawks circling above. Harder to see now because there's a fog.
There is. Drop down inside.
Okay. You drop down inside and you fill, obviously you fill Uma in on what you did. But Uma, you look at this, there's these pylons, or excuse me, these four pylons that are creating a rectangular field in kind of roof over top, like this encased rectangular area around a series of crates and barrels and other things.
Okay.
What would you like to do?
So if Oliver were to give me the rundown on what he's already done, would we consider that an extra die on a tinker? Is that enough of an assist that he
Are you willing to take a stress for that, Oliver? Technically an assist is a stress.
True.
I will say, I can say that I'll increase position just from that. Yeah, I'll increase position for it. I'll make it an easier position or a better. I'll make it. I don't want to make it's not a controlled position. Excuse me. I'll make it increased effect because it's still dangerous no matter what.
Okay.
So you're trying to do, you wanted to mess around with Tinker. Okay. So, and
Yeah.
you're trying to just like deactivate this. So I would put this at, it's still a risky position, but with what you've learned from Oliver, great effect.
Okay. And I think I only have 1 dice, because if he can't take a stress to assist me, I've only got 1 stress left. So I think I'm just gonna roll the 1 dice.
You only have one pip in Tinker?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the Devil's Bargain is Discovery. There's 3 slots left in it.
Could I study it first? Did maybe Uma show me that weird key to see if there's like a key slot on there or something?
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to study it. You do not see a key lock of that kind here. No.
Okay.
You don't see it here. I would say you probably remember at some point seeing that there was a complex lock on the door into this place, and it's likely that key is what opens it. And maybe yeah. So maybe you can kind of piece together that's the key that unlocks the workshop itself.
Okay.
But no, the pylon itself doesn't seem to have any key or anything.
So I think I'm just rolling 1. I don't know if we want to advance that another one, do we?
There's 3 slots open, so this would put it down to 2.
Rolling the 1.
I don't see how I could assist you.
What do you mean? You could just, you just
say I
describe. You say you want to do it and just sort of describe something. Either whether it's just like handing her tools or something like that.
Okay.
Or
Yeah. I'm just like,
yeah, you can do
here
whatever
you
want.
go, ma'am.
Okay.
Or yes, the key was to the basement where the secret of the Titans is. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
God damn it.
Damn it.
No crit fails in this game.
Oh wow. Now this
We
was
just lost the whole opportunity.
Things go badly. You suffer harm. A complication occurs. You end up in a desperate position. You lose this opportunity, which means tinkering no longer seems to be the approach that Uma can take. Not only that, but the same thing happens to you that happened to Oliver, and that you create this sort of feedback effect that just. And so I believe because Setha was assisting, does it mean she gets the same?
That's only if it's a take the lead.
That's a leadership thing. Okay.
Yeah, that's a leadership thing.
Thank you. But that does mean that there is kind of a loud, another loud explosion coming from inside here. You take a level 2 harm, electrocution and electrical burns, and I'm gonna go ahead and tick that clock as well as you get thrown back. What do you want to do? And you're pretty sure like these pylons are just way too like you're not you've never, you're an alchemist, you're not a tinkerer, you're not a spark engineer.
But our stuff is under this, so like we can't get our stuff.
You're pretty
unless we get
confident.
through this.
Yeah. I mean, you just got thrown back on this gravel and you're like scraping like your hands here and there.
There's not like a power source, like a cord leading from the pylons to something else.
Oh, there might be.
Study?
Yeah. You want to do that?
Yeah, I'll study.
Okay.
I can help. No, I can't help. Never mind.
Controlled position, because they're not coming inside yet. I'll give you controlled position standard effect.
Okay. I only have the 1. We're going it.
Okay.
Partial success.
All right. So I will tick the clock again from the partial success, because you were in here for a while. As you're going through all of the shelves, you're going through all of the workshop things, you're doing all this kind of stuff, and then it sort of dawns on you as you look at the ground, and you realize the ground inside here is gravel. And you start digging and kind of pulling up stuff, and you see that underneath the gravel, buried beneath it, you can see that there is some kind of sort of generator device down here that seems to be funneling energy into these pylons from below. Hidden, like you dig and dig and dig, and you're in here for like a half an hour doing this, like tearing up your fingernails, which is why I ticked that clock. 1 left on that clock before your discovery. But at this point, yeah, you know, like that's the thing that's powering these pylons is like buried underneath, and you kind of clear a path towards it's a couple feet down underneath the gravel. Now, Uma, the thing you were doing was just trying to go right for these like secure pylons. Okay, so like this isn't even the power source. So if you wanted to do something else with that specific device underneath that was just dug up, that's different. That's a different thing you can do. So if you wanted to try to roll tinker on that, you could, or just come up with something else. What do you want to do?
I would say it's a tinker. I still can't push myself. Do you guys have stress left to help?
I could spare one.
Okay. Now, I know you're not going to want the devil's bargain, obviously, of particular class. So I'm going to give you a different devil's bargain because otherwise it's not very fair. So I'm going to say that the devil's bargain is going to be +2 heat because you have, again, continued to damage and mess around with very expensive spark equipment. So it's going to be +2 heat.
What do we think? It's not just me.
You need a success too, because a
That's-
partial success will tick the clock.
Yeah.
You need a success. You need a 6.
Yeah, you need that.
All right, I'm rolling 3 dice.
Okay, so you're taking the +2 heat.
Partial success.
Motherfucker.
Okay.
Ah!
You reach down. Do you not have any equipment, by the way? Like, that's the other thing you got to think about too, Melissa, is that you haven't like figured out your loadout and stuff. If you have tinker's tools and things like that, using those things can increase effect. So if you have stuff in your loadout, because you haven't marked any of your loadout, and so you could say like I had tinker's tools, which has the potential to increase the effect on stuff. It's still a partial success. So like the partial success is the partial success, but you can increase effect. So if you wanted to say you had fine tinker's tools, which I believe is one of the things that you get because I played a leech.
Yeah, because I did that before in the first.
So go ahead and mark that, and I will give you, I'll give you a great effect here, but it's still going to be a partial success, which means you turn this thing off, and it does in fact turn off. And as it does, like it makes a significant amount of noise, a whole hell of a amount of noise, to the point where you hear through the through the walls after like the noise of the generator kind of shutting down. You hear, I think there's someone inside the workshop. What? I didn't see anyone go in. And then you hear this like conversation kind of go down. I didn't see Mr. What's his name? God dang it. Lord Rutherford didn't come in. Like, what about Lady Poole? And like they're kind of going back. No one came in. I've been standing here all night. Like she hasn't been in since this morning. And they're like, quickly go. Like we shouldn't interrupt her during the ritual. But they kind of go back and forth, and they finally settle on, I'll do it. I'll be the one. And you hear like footprints, like as someone is running towards the house. And then the voice turns, like one of their voices turns and starts yelling inside, I don't know who you are, but you're gonna wish you didn't come in here. You don't know what these people do. So you've been discovered. They know you're here. They know it's coming. But the effect is off. Like everything's turned off in here. And I'm gonna say that for the bonus is that it's gonna cause like kind of a cascade effect a little bit, and you're gonna see like. And I'm going to say like something, and I think this is going to be useful to you, in that like, I think it causes a short that maybe catches a part of the workshop on fire, which sounds bad to you, but I also feel like it's an extra thing that they're going to have to contend with as well. Is that fair, or do you think that's too mean for you guys?
That's fine. It's catching fire. We got to get going.
Okay. So you just heard one of the guards leave, but there's still one outside, and you still have to get your stuff, and you have to carry it out. And you have to get to a gondola, and you have to get through another guard at the gate, and you have to get onto a gondola. What do you want to do?
We'll start moving boxes up.
Okay. Don't forget about flashbacks, by the way.
Yeah. So cue flashback.
Yes,
I'm hoping this will deal with the guard outside.
Yep.
We
Guard
hired.
the guard is still outside, so just remember that a flashback cannot change something that
Nope.
is already in the fiction.
Nope.
Yes.
It
Yeah.
won't.
No, he's there. We hired this little street kid to kind of stand outside, kind of behind in the canal. So like he's kind of in the canal.
If you look at the map, there's like a corner where like the canal and Walnut Avenue, like right at
Yeah.
the corner there, like at the edge of kind of the property.
Okay. What are you trying to have happen here?
He's
Like, walk me
got
through-
fireworks. We're hoping like maybe
Oh, okay, yeah,
cause
yeah.
a diversion.
Oh
that,
yeah,
like-
yeah. That's fine. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna say that's easy enough to do. I don't think that's gonna. I think hiring a kid to have fireworks and put them off is easy enough to do, but the fact that it's doing that in blue coat infested area, it's gonna take a little bit of convincing. You don't have to do a roll, but I'm gonna say one stress. Do one stress and
I'll take it.
yeah, take the one stress just because it's like convincing this kid to go do this and likely get arrested for it, or at least get his ass beat by the corrupt bluecoats. And so it's at that. So I'm not like, what would you say? Maybe the timing is the fog. Once the fog shows up, like when you say, when you see the fog pops up, that's the time.
Yeah,
Okay.
and like that's when it rises just enough for him to see, and then he's like, "Oh hell
You
yeah!"
start hearing as these like spark fireworks start going, and you're like, what the? And like people are like, I think we're being attacked. They're at the front gate. And so you hear like boots kind of moving off as well, but there's still going to be likely one person out here, and there could be somebody by the canal gate as well. Just don't forget, there's gates that go off onto the street, and there's gates that go off onto the canal, right? So like there's the two ways in. Like there's a water entrance and there's the ground entrance. So it's unlikely that they're just going to abandon a workshop that they just heard stuff going in and they think there's people inside. But you've definitely, I would say you've funneled it off so that there's only one person outside now, as opposed to like there was 3, and now it's down to 1. And then you know that there's still probably going to be 1 at the gate. Okay.
Okay.
So okay. So the other question I have for you is to think about the gondola.
Got
Right,
a flashback
like-
prepared for that.
All right. What are you thinking?
So basically, my flashback is that we had already paid off a gondola guy down there,
Okay.
who was going to basically take us to our barge. So we
Okay.
kind of set up where the barge is, and we already paid off a gondola guy to.
Would it be possible to
us.
have it be like, because how is it to get to the canal? Could we have him be like closer behind the building so we don't have to go to the dock?
The issue is the gate. So there's that iron bar that goes around the entire estate, and if you got over it, which is, by the way, there's the anti-climb spikes, or if you bent the bars and got through it, you can probably hop down the retaining wall if there's a gondola there waiting.
Okay.
Yeah, how about if there's any like tools in this workshop that could split open the gate?
100% there are tools. There's hammers, there's sledges. There's plenty of tools in here that can potentially help you, but it's still going to require like a roll to go do it. Yeah.
Right.
And you still know that there's at least one person outside here, and they just went inside to fetch someone called Lady Poole and Lord.
And
Lord
I'm pretty sure
Riverford.
we know who Lady Poole is, and we don't want to deal with that.
Can I say in my loadout that I've got like a poison?
Of course, that's what it's for. Yeah, absolutely.
So like
fill
a
up.
powder that you just like.
Yeah. So you took your tools,
I'm
and now
just
you've
gonna
got
take
and now you've got poison. Okay.
Yep.
And don't forget you had light load. Okay.
Yep.
So
One more spot left. So I basically just want to go up and
I'm gonna.
take this
I
guy
mean,
out with poison.
okay. So you wanna open this door, and try to take the guy out with poison.
What
Poison
about
of
instead
what
of
kind? Good.
what about instead of poison, you have like that like the stuff that
Formaldehyde
just like
Chloroform-ish or
yes,
Kind of
Or
a thing.
chloroform. Not
yeah, that's what
formaldehyde.
it's called. I was gonna call it like the date rape.
You're gonna
drug.
preserve him for the rest of the term.
Yeah, chloroform.
Okay.
Yeah, and just kind of like get him in a hold and just like make him pass out.
Okay. I like it. So you're readying the cloth with the chloroform.
Mhm.
So if you have that ready, is anybody helping? Like timing the door opening properly and stuff like that. It's easy to open from inside. You can see like there's a clear switch and stuff like that inside here, but like from the outside it requires the key. But the inside it just looks like there's a lock mechanism on the inside that you can kind of unhinge. But does anybody want to help her with this?
If I help, I'm gonna trauma out.
Sometimes
Can we-
you
Got that
gotta
much
trauma
stress
out.
this. Well, I guess I did too.
What's the difference in terms of that between like a setup action and like taking a stress to assist?
So a setup action is doing a specific action that can then kind of increase the position or effect for the next person who's doing that action.
Which
So it's
wouldn't
doing,
necessarily
like, the
take
next
stress if they're just doing a setup.
Correct.
action.
Yeah. So if there's a setup action that Cephalo wants to do that she thinks would help with this, absolutely, yeah, you can totally do that. What are you thinking?
Oh, like maybe instead of opening inwards, the door opens outwards, and I can try and like knock him.
The door
No.
does open outwards. You saw it earlier. It did open outwards.
Yeah.
So I know this is meta that Uma wouldn't know this, but Oliver, do you have another mouse that you could try to call them hawk
fine.
over? And that could be the setup action. Is that you? Like,
Whoa!
Oh.
Drop the just
Like drop it on the guy's head or something.
You do
like from
have
the roof.
you do have a bond with that hawk.
All right, I can try that. I'll climb back up on the roof.
Okay. So yeah, this is going to be, you're going to try to get the attention of your friend the hawk, and then you're going to try to entice them and then time it so that they see
Just
you
like-
dropping the mouse down onto the guard
Oh
that's
my
down
God.
there. Okay.
Yeah.
I love this idea. All right. What do you want to roll to try to accomplish this, Oliver?
Finesse would be my best, or maybe even like a command, because I'm like calling the
Yeah.
hawk.
Yeah. I think that makes sense. Command. Sure. Okay. I think this is risky standard though. This is still a wild Actually, no. I'm gonna say. Oh man. It's definitely not a controlled position, but I'm gonna say great effect because you've seen what this hawk can do. So I'm gonna say it's still risky, but
He's
with
felt it.
potentially great effect here. Because like the guy's not ready for this. He's paying attention to the inside. He's watching. You see him like looking at the gates. Like he's like, just throw down your arms, come out. You're gonna, and we'll take it easy on you. You'll just spend a little time in Iron Hook, but you'll at least get to live. And you're up top and you're trying to do Beastmaster stuff. Okay.
Can I get a bargain here?
Devil's Bargain. Okay, all my clocks are basically filled. So, let's see. Devil's Bargain. Okay. +2 heat seems too easy in this case. I've already given you it a bunch anyway. They're already aware of you. Okay.
What if like one of the fireworks catches some of the grounds on fire?
Yeah,
That might
but
help us more than anything. Never mind.
yeah. Yeah, it's not. I mean, like a Devil's Bargain is supposed to be like, it's a complication.
Well, like a level 1, just like straining the climb back up on the roof.
With like your burns.
like he nicks you or something. Maybe you take a.
Or if we
You take,
take
like-
too long, the gondola leaves us.
Oh shit! That's
No!
like horrible.
You guys are
'Cause
dead,
that
and
happens
we just
either
finished
way.
our Blades in the Dark. Yeah.
Yeah, the
How
Devil's Bargain
about?
happens success or no?
Yeah, it happens success or no. Okay. Man, this one's a little more difficult. Like I can just give you +2 heat. I'll just do +2 heat again.
You're gonna
yeah.
end up in that jail one way or the other.
Yeah. I honestly can't think of one. That might be that isn't going to be an issue.
Unless Chad has.
What
any
about
ideas.
some of the power comes on some of the lights, like comes back?
That sounds great, actually. We'll say that someone's been working on the generator the whole time, and some of the floodlights come on.
Oh,
not
the
all of them.
lights, not the.
Yeah, some of the floodlights
Yeah,
come
but
back
like
on.
they're
The force
slowly
field
getting
thing.
them
That's
back
great.
online.
I like that. That's a really
Okay.
good one, actually. Okay, you're taking it?
Yep.
All right.
Boom! It's a failure.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh!
Oh, God. Oh, my God. Okay. So Suffer harm, a complication occurs, you end up in a desperate position, and you lose this opportunity. Okay, so the next person who rolls is in a desperate position. So that's the next thing.
That
So
was
you
me.
throw the mouse down, and the hawk comes kind of coursing through, and as it follows the mouse as you're flying through the air, it rams into you, and you fall off the roof, and you land on the ground right next to this guy. That's your complication. You're outside right in front of him as this hawk is next to you eating this mouse on the ground. And you're on the ground, no harm or anything like that. It's just this is a major complication. You are now on the ground in front of this mercenary guard. Inside, you guys hear the sound of the hawk. You knew the timing.
Yep, going.
And you open the door. Now this is desperate position now, because
Yeah.
it didn't happen the way it was supposed to happen. So desperate position. The effect is still going to be standard. So standard desperate. Ashley, are you doing anything with Sethla to help out?
Could I do my own separate thing?
Yeah.
I want to take one of the things that we were going to use to break open the fencing and just hit his legs while she tries to like drug him.
Okay.
Up.
So you want to do your own separate thing. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I want to try and I want to skirmish with his kneecaps.
Okay. I think we're gonna let Uma go. Those sound two separate actions. So we'll start with Uma. Uma will roll hers at desperate.
Yeah.
Desperate standard.
1 dice.
Okay.
Finesse.
Do you want a devil's bargain?
Oh, I'll hear it.
You want it?
I'll listen to it.
Okay. I think the devil's bargain is that your ghost passenger pushes their way out at this point.
I don't even know what that's gonna do.
I know, that's what's so great about it.
But we're gonna go for it so I can get 1 extra dice. Let's see how this goes. Partial success.
You push the door open. You reach, and like what basically happened is that even though Cobb fell down and it didn't work the way you wanted, Cobb falling right in front of the guy actually distracts him just enough that you open the door, quickly come up, and he starts getting really, really woozy. But in doing so, like you kind of, oh God, he's much heavier than you thought he was. And you're straining. And then Sethla, you watch as like almost peeling out of the right side of Uma's body, you see arcing out what looks like this ghastly, horrific kind of spirit creature that just, it's kind of got this blue-green glow to it. It sort of begins to merge a bit with the smoke, and you hear like it just kind of, its mouth, like this that you can't even really describe as like a mouth anymore. It's just this huge slit right through like this course of like this oval of a head, tries to scream, and it makes no sound whatsoever. But the hawk looks up at this point and is like got this big blood kind of coming down its talons, and you see the ghost just sort of lash out right at this hawk, and the hawk gets this horrible ghostly tendril just casting through it, and there's now a ghost standing in front of you. Sethla, what do you want to do?
Fuck. So
she's managed to, the guy's kind of coming down, he's falling out, but like I'm gonna say, by the way, Uma, take you have a consequence. You suffer severe harm, or a serious complication occurs, or you have reduced effect. I'll say reduced effect is he doesn't immediately get, he's disoriented, but he's not out. So this leaves room for Sessa. So it's a decreased effect. It's not standard, it's limited. You can see he's getting really woozy, he's starting to fall down, but you can see he's managing to pull Uma's hand off of his mouth to the point where there might be room to do things. So he might be able to get free before actually collapsing. So Sethla, what do you want to do? Ghost is lashing out at this hawk. Uma's losing her grip on the guy, and Oliver's like writhing in pain on the ground, having falling off the roof.
Oh fuck. I want to like God. So how do the spirit bottles work? Like it's not like Ghostbusters bullshit where I can just like open it up and suck it in. That's kind of up
Just
to us to determine, right?
read the whole thing again. Yeah, it
It
is.
just
Like most of the stuff doesn't have like a very specific effect. Some of it does, and it's usually just like a +1 in this or an increased effect. But like,
it's an arcane device used to trap a spirit, a metal and crystalline cylinder. It's the size of a loaf of bread.
okay. And do you have room in your loadout to carry that?
I haven't used any of my loadout yet.
Okay. It sounds to me like it's gonna take a test. It's gonna be an action roll to see if you can effectively capture the ghost. Is what you're trying to do? You're trying to capture the ghost in this bottle. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be in a tune. It doesn't have to be in a tune, but knowing you, it's gonna be a tune. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
Yeah.
To do
No,
that.
no,
But
no.
like, I think
That's your skill.
considering the situation, it just popped out. It's distracted. It's like going after the hawk first.
Uh-huh.
Risky standards, fine.
Okay. Okay.
You want a devil's bargain?
What is it? I might.
Okay. Devil's bargain. The devil's bargain is that the bells are gonna start ringing, and whatever dampening effect that was put into place in this area is lifted, which means the fog will suddenly grow a little thicker. That's the devil's bargain, which sounds good, but also could be extraordinarily bad. So that's the devil's bargain.
Yeah.
Okay, you're taking it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep. Okay.
So you've been pushing and pushing at this like suppressing effect on your various attunements throughout attune attempts throughout the night, and I guess you've just worn it down, or someone switched it off. Because as you reach out towards this ghost to try to usher it, kind of control it, and coax it into this bottle, you suddenly hear dung, dung. All of you hear it, and that you know is the sounds of the bells off to the northwest.
Yay!
The good news is that you do manage to coax the ghost in, but you also see that the fog has gotten much thicker, and you realize the effects of what's going on, and the fact that there's at least one, if not two, dead bodies inside that house is going to attract the attention of spirit wardens.
Yeah. Well, and those spirits of those dead bodies.
The spirits of those dead bodies you don't got to worry about just yet. It usually takes time, but they were doing something with it. You're not sure what, but you would know it would take a couple days for a spirit to wrench itself free, which is why the spirit wardens try to get to the bodies first before those spirits wrench free and become feral, which is why this whole bell system works. But you know this is attracting now the attention of the spirit wardens.
Okay.
So what's the status of the guard?
So the guard is, what I'm saying is he's not knocked out. He's woozy, and he's sort of, you've got him woozy, but he's managed to sort of keep your hand off of his mouth, and he's breathing, and he's not getting all of it in. So he's not knocked out yet. Cobb, you can do stuff too, man. You're here as well.
Punch him.
Yeah, I'll get up. Just start skirmishing this little bout that's going on.
And because I'm gonna say this is gonna be, I gotta switch out my headphones here as like we've been going a little bit longer. Give me 1 second. But we're gonna make this. I'm gonna give you a bonus to effect, great effect, because he does have the kind of he's starting to get a little woozy. So you get a great effect from this, but it's still gonna be, you know, potentially risky to swing, because you're swinging at somebody who's being held by one of your teammates. 1 sec. Front plug. Boom. All right. Can someone say something so I can just test this really quick? 1 moment. Talk amongst yourself for a moment while I fix my audio. All right, sorry about that. I think I should be good now.
Can you hear us?
Ready?
Yep, all set. My bad. Yeah, my my Bluetooth stuff just died on me. Okay.
Oh, no.
So yeah, the great effect, risky, if you're just trying to skirmish with them.
Can make it desperate. Like I'm just going all out, not even caring where
So yeah, this will potentially
Does
be
that risk stress though?
yeah, a desperate position will have like greater consequences.
I don't care about any of that. I'm just going.
Okay, you get a plus, get your XP on that, and this is going to potentially be like amazing effect here. Yeah.
Okay.
If you roll well.
Yeah, if you roll.
Yeah, because I have no tips in it, it's just going to be disadvantage.
Oh, so you want to go desperate with it? Desperate's not going to give you an
Oh.
extra die.
Exactly. So I'm going to get as much as I can from it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because you want your effect to be as high as it can. Okay.
Don't remember how this works, but I just roll this, I think.
Okay.
Ooh, comes out partial.
Perfect.
Nice.
That's great. 2 4s,
Two
so it would be a
fours.
4. Yeah, you I mean, maybe you still have one of those one of the tools on you, and so while he's like kind of struggling to get Uma's hand off, you take like the spanner and you just right across his face and just knocks him clean out. His teeth go flying across and kind of hit the back of Sethala as she's coaxing that ghost into the bottle, and he just goes limp in your arms, Uma. He's not dead, but he's out completely. And I'll say that like it's, you know, in the process of doing so, of like kind of getting up to swing, you I'm trying to think of what suffer harm. No, it doesn't make sense for you to suffer harm. Complication. I'm gonna say no. Actually, you do kill him, which is gonna be the complication. Is you smash right
God.
into his
Into
face.
his temple.
Yeah, and his head just kind of crumples on the side, and suddenly you hear dong, dong, as another body is basically falling, and he falls to the ground. So that'll be the complications that you just killed a dude in their employ.
All right, let's get this stuff and go.
Now you guys look over towards the house, and you can see starting to leave the house at this point are the guard that you presume ran to get help, but you also now see both Lord Riverford and Lady Poole now are starting to exit, and they're looking around at this point, but it's very, very foggy, and you can kind of just barely make them out because you can see they're carrying, you know, lanterns and things like that. But they're here, which means you are really, really, this is tight.
I want to take my contained ghost and I want to like loosen the cap just enough to where when it hits the ground, the cap pops off, and I want to throw that at
Okay, you
the
want to throw a
Persian
ghost
people.
grenade? Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you're going to try to throw a ghost grenade. All right, what's the action that you're using for this?
Skirmish.
Skirmish, yeah, I think that's okay. Yeah, I'll say risky standard. I think this will have an effect because this thing is like a feral, crazed ghost, so you don't know exactly who it's going to attack. Attack the freaking hawk. Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna launch it.
Okay.
Partial success.
Nice.
All right, so you chuck it all the way across. It crashes against the kind of the railing of the wraparound porch, and you can see that the ghost suddenly emerges, and you hear people screaming left and right. However, I'm gonna say that your complication is that you're gonna have like a touch of, like you're gonna take an injury, you're gonna take a level 1 spirit burn harm. Like you just
Okay.
spent all this effort in kind of coaxing it in, and that maybe like you hadn't yet kind of detached yourself as you threw
Oh,
that
and it like
across.
I got whiplash.
Yeah,
Or, like,
yeah, something like that,
okay.
like spirit whiplash from it. So yeah, take a level 1 harm.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And so that seems to have bought you a little time. What do you guys want to do?
Grab the shit and go.
All right, it doesn't take any action to grab the ship, but where are you going? Because there is a guard at the gate.
We're
Well,
going
we-
to the side so that
The
we can go
gondola
down.
guy. Yeah.
Okay, going to the gondola guy, but again, there's two different
Our
gates.
gondola guy.
All right.
So we're not going to the gate. We're going to the
Where we got to break the fence.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
you got to. Okay, so as long as you're breaking the fence, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you go over, you look down, and there he is. He's waiting for you. What's his name, by the way? Gondola guy.
Georg.
All right.
So like George, but
Gotcha. I gotcha. Little Georg is down there, and you just got to get through these bars as you're probably like on the side of the workshop now, between where the workshop and the gate is, obscured you're kind of obscured currently from the wraparound porch area, and here you are right at the gate. And if you could just get past this gate, these iron bars with their kind of the metal hawk statues on intermediate posts here and there, you're home free ish.
Oliver, do you still have that tool on you?
Yeah, I'll hand her whatever I grab from the shed.
Okay, you hand over and yeah, it's you no problem. You've got something in here that could potentially work for you.
Can I?
Could be the giant spanner that you've got that you shared your electrocution with.
I don't have skirmish either.
I do.
Oh yeah. Then
Could I like skirmish?
Don't forget, by the way, that there rec also is a potential. Like, I'm not saying you have to use rec. I'm just saying rec is a potential, would make sense here too. Lots of things could potentially make sense.
You've got skirmish. Go for it.
Okay.
Okay.
Anybody want to assist me?
Can I do a? Oh, I don't know if I want to do this because it could hurt.
Do you
I
have a
can't
trauma?
assist.
Now would be a good time to trauma out because we're almost out.
She's not wrong.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, you're going to do what you can to help. This is probably going to be along the lines of maybe like Sethla's got one tool, you got another, and you're both like each one of you is like getting one side of the bar to try to like pry the bars open. So you get your +1 from Uma.
Trauma out.
And you do trauma out. Yeah. And that's fine. It's okay. It's good. And then do you want a devil's bargain?
What's the devil's bargain?
So, oh gosh, I mean, +2 heat again. I feel like +2 heat gets a little ridiculous after a certain point. I feel like I'm just going to the well too often. I'm gonna say so I'll say the exertion. No, that's more of a complication.
Oh, like it also traumas me out?
No, I was gonna say it fills up your Sethla gets sick, and like maybe you take like a level 1 harm, like where you just get like horribly ill, like you're
gonna be car sick
exhausted,
the whole way home.
exhaustion.
Oh, like I'm just barfing my brains
Yeah, like level
out.
1 exhaustion or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll
it's more
take
like
that.
a complication, but we can do that. Yeah, that's fine.
Still risky standard.
I don't want to do an accidental summoning because I feel like I don't want to go to that well too often, because with too many times, and plus we've been playing for 3 hours. I want to get out of here. So we'll just make it this. Yeah. So you get your +1 for that.
Okay.
Okay. Partial success. You managed to you managed to do this. I'm gonna say then kick it to a level 2 harm since the complication. So it's gonna be a level 2
so like
harm.
I've got, what would you say, like food poisoning?
No, blood poisoning.
Blood poisoning.
Yeah, we'll call it blood poisoning or something like that. Level 2 blood poisoning. Plus you got your level 1 spirit burn. But you do, like, you kind of look down, Cobb, at Sethla, and her face just looks like this disgusting, like, pale blue color. Her eyes are beginning to fill with like this red fluid. She coughs and like a splat of blood flies out. Uma collapses, but you look and the bars are in fact open. You start pushing out.
Collapses just down.
Yeah.
It just rolls right into the gondola.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Just rolling right down.
And you just roll Uma down, and one by one you drop, or you have a rope ready. It seems reasonable. You hear people shouting, and as you start to sort of push the gondola away, you got like your 6 or 7 barrels and crates. Each of you may be carrying 2, one underneath of whatever the hell you could grab. You look up, and you can see on the retaining wall where you bent everything open, where the workshop is, you can see there stands Lady Poole and Lord Riverford watching you all as you gondola yourselves the hell out of there.
They got away from the ghost?
Yep. It's just a ghost, man. You got, look how easy was it for
That's
you to
true.
deal with
That's
the ghost? they're tier 4, man. Okay. And that is it. You guys have successfully gotten yourself out of that heist. Now, let's do. Shall we do our XP and then we can bail on this? Sound good?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds good.
All right.
It's
So
pretty rough.
that was. I told you that was a hard one, man.
Yeah,
I warned you
but-
guys. I warned you guys. You guys went to a rich place and you attacked me.
Hey,
Probably
they
should have
stole
brought.
our shit. They're bad.
Yeah. Okay, so so first of all, you guys get your XP for your individual stuff. So
Yeah.
you
Yep,
wanna-
I get
Read
that.
it tonight.
let's see.
Well, that's just from the desperate
Desperate.
roll. So we're
Yeah.
talking about like if you answered your question, so you get just
Yeah.
one from that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm trying to find the payoff stuff.
Yeah, I use my tools.
I always forget where the questions are. Where's the experience?
Payoff.
Or either.
So
Where are those experience questions? Boom. You guys
so
can have
a
so
crew
much.
earns 2 rep per score by default. If the target of the score is higher tier than you, take +1 rep per tier higher.
That's crew
that's-
advancement.
That's payoff.
Yeah,
or
we're doing
that's-
PC. So okay, PC stuff.
Okay.
I got it. Okay. So you already did your desperate roll stuff. You already checked into your specific playbook XP trigger.
Mhm.
So then you expressed your beliefs, drives, heritage, or background. You get an XP for that. And
Mm,
you struggled with issues from your vice or your traumas.
Oh, I did. I drank blood.
Okay.
My trauma. I was unstable.
Oh yeah. For sure. Yeah. Cobb, do you think you got yours? I know you had a trauma too.
No, I paranoid. I wasn't really paranoid or anybody.
All right. So that's your personal XP. And then crew advancement, you've got, let's see, crew specific trigger for hawkers. Where'd it go? Your hawker XP trigger is when you play hawkers, you're an XP when you acquire new product supply, execute clandestine or covert sales, or secure new sales territory. It's not really new product, but like you acquired product, so I feel like you should get
Yeah.
XP for that, right?
Sweet.
It's not up to me; it's up to you guys. But like
Yes, I
that's
agree.
my argument. See, contend with challenges above your current station.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Nah, those guys are below us.
Bolster your crew's reputation or develop a new one. Remember, yours is strange. Do you feel like you did strange stuff tonight? Do you feel like
I feel
you're
like we
pushing
may
it?
have. Well, do you think we got like a new reputation as like maybe like murderous? Because this is the second time we've left a thing where we've killed someone,
Yeah.
either intentionally or accidentally.
I mean, it could be bold or ballsy or
Oh,
something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's like what you guys did. It's pretty. I'd be like, yeah, okay. So you guys can sort of workshop the word for next time. Okay. Express the goals, drives, inner conflict, or essential nature of the crew. Still haven't really worked on that too much.
Mm-mm.
Well, and then so you get some XP for that, plus 2 more. So that's 1, 2. I think by my count, that's 5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's what I
5
have
XP.
Yeah.
All right. And we'll do all the payoff stuff for coin and rep and heat next time. But we'll got your XP down so that you can make your choices and decide what you guys want to do with your crew stuff. Don't forget, because you're gonna ding with your crew,
Mhm.
and so there might be something that you might want to do with those if you want to look into that advancement stuff. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well done. I thought you guys were pretty screwed, but it did not look good there for a while.
No, it did
I have to
not.
say it looked really, really bad. But you made it work. That's what matters. Let's close it down then. We've got let's see. Next game we have is on Monday at 9. We're doing Ultraviolet Grasslands. You want to come check that out. We'll be back on Friday next week doing Delta Green and Possible Landscapes. And Saturday we'll do more Blades in the Dark. You can also catch me running another Delta Green game over on Thursdays on Garblight Games. You can check that out. And Melissa and I on Tuesday will be on the Sirenscape channel playing through Call of Cthulhu. We're also, I think I'm going to be on Steam Still Murder tomorrow night doing, so it's Sunday night doing some Shadowrun, and then Wednesdays over on the Defenders of Cobalt doing Pathfinder. So got a lot of games I'm playing.
Stuff's all over the place.
All over the place. I don't sleep anymore. I'm seeing things.
That might be the adults agreeing.
Yeah. But thanks for hanging out, everybody. Thanks for watching us as we kind of push through our crazy hawkers who got attacked by hawks tonight. So hawkers got attacked by hawks. We're very literal. But we'll go ahead and put it on the end screen. We'll raid somebody as well. So have a good night, and we'll catch you next time. So bye-bye.
Good night.
Later.
Later.